Hi. Apparently I'm live. Yeah, I've still got lines going across the top of the screen like it's loading up, so right, I'm assuming I'm live. There's someone there. We're 30 minutes in, 30 seconds in even. Say hello. I can imagine that I sound really dramatic every time I start a live stream. It's because I am. I do my own editing because I do leave things to the last minute, and but then something else crops up, and then I'll have forgotten of something, and then I'll remember it, and then I'll forget something else. And then I bought a T-shirt specifically for this live stream, and I've only just tried it on for the first time, and it looks shit. Hey, Michael, mate. Oh, I'm glad you could make it, even if it's just for a little while. You know, good on you, brother. Thank you, man. Starting a shift at 3 o'clock in the morning. You know, it's not cricket, is it? You know, no one should be having to get up at that time. We're not designed that way. We're designed to get up when the sun comes up, go to bed when the sun goes down. We're literally designed for that, physically designed for that. I'm bed, but not asleep yet, but trying. Well, listen to my voice, Michael. Okay? Rock-a-bye, baby. Mate, I've got a better idea for you, Michael, right? Open your bedroom curtains, right? Lean out your bedroom window and count sheep. Because they're fucking everywhere. Oh, man. Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. Oh. Who else is? Come and say hello. There's 4 people in. Come and say hello. Don't be shy. Your mum won't. I'm sorry. That's what we used to say at school. Don't be shy. Your mum won't. Hello, Jenny. I love that little emoji. It's like a... Are you lurking? Are you lurking there, Jennifer? Are you lurking? Are you lurking? I think you're lurking a little bit. Did you spend loads of time finding those emojis? Because they're very good and they've made me chuckle, you know. And who doesn't like to chuckle? Everyone wants to chuckle. I shouldn't move around too much because it's getting a bit jerky, So, put some. I've been out and about, right? And again, I'm not entirely sure about the true legalities involved in this, right? I think I've said before, if there's the laws, I get the laws. You look at most, if not all, laws under common law, right? And don't worry, I'm not going to waffle on about common law and all of that. And you can kind of get you kind of get the practicalities of those laws and why they're there, right? But then when these little cunts come along and put acts and statutes on top, which are just policies, right, that you've got to consent to before they're enforceable, right? So who's going to consent to an act or a statute that you don't agree with? Nobody. I sure as shit ain't. If there's an act or a statute that I don't agree with, I'm not going to abide by it. I don't give a fuck where it's written down. I don't care, right? And I fucking mean that. So when it comes to flags and putting flags upon lampposts, I've been out and about fulfilling my patriotic duty to let everyone know that this is fucking England. This is England. Anyway, just went for a walk to the shop, and one of these flags it looks like it's been messed about with. And I know if it's been fucked about with, I know who it was. I know. It was Russia. Anyway. It's just so beautiful because you see, I've put them on roads that seem to be like wind tunnels. So they're constantly flying, you know, they're not drooped down because we've had a bit of rain. You get rain. I'm moving that into the front room. Just so we can just relax. Just bear with me. Sorry. Quite right, darling. Okay. Follow me. I'm the water version of the Pied Piper. It's just instant stress. Like someone's just, you remember the Action Man where there was an action. Well, this might not be a, you know, not for the girls. When you were playing with dolls, we were playing with action men, you know, as it should be, you know. Nothing wrong with girls playing with action men, you know. And if a lad wants to look at a doll, you know, fine, no problem. But don't push shit on kids. Don't push it. Let kids be kids. Let them find out who the fuck they want to be. Anyway, I had the posh Action Man with a little button on the back, and you can make his eyes eagle-eyed Action Man. You can make his eyes go like that. Now it's almost like I've got a button somewhere that's instantly pushed for stress when she starts drinking. Oh, it's just too much. Hello, Baba. Come on out of the way. Come on. So obviously I see my dad every Wednesday, and I just explained to him, I said, Dad, there's a Muslim guy who's just moved in at the bottom of the street there, and he just said, terrorist. I said, no, I've not seen any guns or bombs. How bad was that? I heard it the other day. Thought I'd share it with you. It's the fucking worst joke ever. And I've got more. I thought we'd start it off with having a little bit of a crack for a change, because we normally just move in with dark stuff. And yeah, you see what I mean there, Jerry? Hey, Johnny. Well, I don't know. It's all about the delivery, said the midwife. And this is a fact, right? Women are never fucking happy. They're never happy, right? It's like, I'm not fat in this, you know. My bum looks big in this. Look how chunky my thighs are, you know, shit like that. They're always coming out with stuff like that. So you've got blonde women that dye their hair brown, brown-haired women that dye their hair blonde, women that were born with small tits getting breast enlargements, women with massive tits getting breast reductions. The list goes on and on and on and on. It's just the insecurities of a woman, you know, especially when they get past a certain age. I think they think that that's it, you know, but there's always something that they've got to pick on, you know. I had a Thai girlfriend. She was always moaning about the size of a cock. Oh. does my cat look fat in that box? No, it doesn't, Jenny. That cat looks perfectly positioned and perfectly proportionate to your box. So I hope that makes you feel better. Do you want to hear another one? There's not many, you know. I just thought we'd like to have a bit of a crack, you know. Yeah, you know, fossils and stuff. They reckon that fossils actually don't necessarily need to take anywhere near as long as people or these scientists reckon that fossils take to form. You know. Again, question the science. Question the science. Always question the science. If you can't question science, it's not science. It's propaganda. But I did do carbon dating once, and all I did was get coal all over me cock. Well, if anything else, they're relatively original, you know. Oh dear. Cheers anyway. This I don't drink on a Thursday, but I'm not going to be drinking over the weekend because I've got a lot of stuff to do and I want to be tip top. Hello, how you doing? What kind of Cockney shit is this? I love that because she's American, you know. So she's actually got a right to say that, you know, because she doesn't know any different. One thing that I found quite interesting about American actors, right, is that they can all do well-spoken, you know, gentlemanly, you know, proper Queen's English. A lot of them find that relatively easy to pull off in a film, right? But you try getting them to do regional accents, you know. Now that's a fucking film I'd watch, you know. Yeah. They can't do it. They can't do it. You know. We can hardly do it. We live here. But it's lovely to see you again. I remember your name, Melanie. I had to write it down. Just to make sure. Because I don't like forgetting people's names, you know. It comes across as rude. Especially if you've introduced yourself like 10 times. It's like, do I really need to do it an 11th time to get this guy to remember my fucking name? Hey, Melanie, there's lots and lots of talk going around about Trump turning around at some point and saying to the American public, look, I was misinformed about Operation Warp Speed. And because I was misinformed, I misinformed you. And for that, I'm eternally sorry. You know, that's never happening. You know, never happening. The closest you'll probably get to that is where he's about to tell someone and then he gets his fucking head blown off. Gets Kennedy'd. But there's information leaking out here, there, and everywhere, and then there's people, loads and loads of people. I mean, I've got friends, family. You know, I mean, some of you guys have said that you know friends, that you've lost friends, you've lost work colleagues, you've lost members of your family. They didn't have cancer, then all of a sudden they had cancer, and it was stage 4, and then that was it. You know, and that's another thing. A lot of YouTubers out there won't even say the word cancer now. It's the C word. You know, it's got the C word. Well, it's got the C word. You know, it does do my head in. I think if more people just stopped self-censoring, again, I get the whole, if they say this word, pretty much basically what I've been doing by using all the words that the algorithms don't like to keep the channel small, right? Because it does restrict your reach. It doesn't push the channel. So it is easier for me. But on the flip side, don't come up with a whole, you know, this is my amazing moral compass and I'm all about the truth and all that, and then self-censor the fucking shit out of yourself, because it irritates me. What we need, basically they'll turn around and say, well, it affects the reach and it's important information. And then I'd be thinking, hold on, at the start of this video that you've just put out, you said you're not going to hear this anywhere else. And then I'll listen, I thought, I've heard this everywhere. You know, there are so many insincere people out there that are all that. They're all that, you know. Just be straight and honest. That's all you need to do. It's very, very simple. If you be yourself, you be yourself. You know, it's not hard to be yourself. Yeah, and that's another thing. I was watching UK Column, and the level of sex education that they're bringing in, not just into the UK, but all over the world. You know, especially well, any English speaking country, but now it's reaching into other countries as well. And it's next level sex education, you know, teaching very young children about anal sex. You know, this isn't a joke, by the way. You know, I wouldn't say something like that and then throw a fucking, you know, a punchline at the end. You know, I am a bit different, yeah, but I'm not sick. And it's mad because they're doing all that in this. This is why I don't get why everyone's not seeing through all of this facade. Because if they're introducing the Online Safety Bill or the Online Safety Act, whichever it is, none of it means anything to me because it's not something I'll ever adhere to, right? So that they can prevent or protect kids from accessing porn. Yet then those kids then go to school to learn pretty much sordid examples of a pornographic nature. You couldn't make this shit up. You really couldn't make this shit up. It's madness. It's madness. So how anyone can think, yeah, because this is how they manage to push these acts and statutes through, because they'll go through to people like, what, and they'll ask them specific loaded questions like, what? So do you think it's a good idea to protect children from accessing porn online? And they're going, yeah. Okay, I'll put that a yeah. And then they'll ask another question, and then another question, and then another question. And it's yeah, because people have got a moral. Generally, most people generally have got a moral compass, and they want to protect our kids. It's what we do as societies. It's built into our DNA to look after our kids, even if they're not ours. So this is how they push this shit through. From getting the backing of naive, shallow-thinking fuckwits that don't think about what it is that they're really being asked. You know, that fail to read between the lines. Gets on my tits. Hello, Jordan. How you doing, Yo China? You all right? And Chelsea Star. Oh, thanks for joining us. I really, really appreciate you being here. I always do. I love it. And it's nice to see the same faces. We've got a nice little click No, click. I think click's a negative word. Because where our caravan is, originally we went to look at a static, 2-bedroom fucking thing, big thing, and we ended up getting cold feet in the end, because we thought, right, what if we buy this, and it turns out that everyone else that's got a caravan or a static caravan in this field, of which there's quite a few, what if they all turn out to be like really, really close knit, and they're all scowling at us and just peeping at us through their curtains and like through the blinds? Those new bastards are here again. What if it was really, really clicky? That's the way we were thinking at the time. So we thought, if it doesn't work out, we can't sell this thing again, so we can spend it on a caravan somewhere else, or maybe go back to getting a motorhome so we can go touring again, or go get a small caravan and go touring in a caravan again. How the fuck are we? What are we going to do with this thing? We'd have to get a low loader to block the entire road off. There's only one road in and out of Edale. Block the whole road off, and then send a crane over, strap it all up, get it on back onto the back of a low loader, and then take it where? So, yeah, click. That's going back to being clicky. I said I don't see the word. I don't think the word click's a very positive word. I'm all about inclusivity. I am, as long as you put some effort into to fit in. And at the moment, we've just got an influx of people that refuse to fit in. So, if you can't fit in, fuck off. Very, very simple. Very simple. To cover his arse. But the cat's already out the bag. The damage is done. When people start to learn more and more and more about the harms of what was actually in those jabs, not in all of them, I'm fairly certain. I mean, I know a fair few people that have been jabbed, and they said that they felt nothing at the time, they felt nothing immediately afterwards, and they still feel absolutely fine now. So there was so much saline, and as I've said in a previous live stream, probably several, it costs next to nothing to make saline. So you imagine making vial after vial after vial after vial, millions of vials of saline, and then selling them that saline on at a 10,000% markup. It's fucking genius. It's sick. It's sick and genius. But they are sick geniuses. But then there are geniuses in amongst us on the good side, on the light side, that are fighting the good fight, just like we are. Everyone's got something different to bring to the table, which is good, which is exactly what we need, because they're quite limited. The bad side, the evil side, they're very fixed in their ways. I've given climate change that as a perfect example, which is good for us. It's good for us because they cannot and will not deviate away from that. They won't. So as long as you can continue to keep finding papers and studies and stuff like that by people that have got a really good reputation for honesty and integrity, and you point those out to people, and they're going to be thinking, well, I've heard this. Yeah, but what you're hearing is wrong, and I'll tell you why. They can't deviate. So that gives us lots and lots of opportunities and a fair bit of time, really, in order for us to make people realise that they're lying to them. because they can't move off that path. I have to drop out of it. All right, matey. I'm sorry I missed your comment there, mate. I got a bit carried away there. But yeah, I hope you have a good shift, and I hope you have a good weekend as well, brother. Stay frosty. Stay frosty. Oh, Melanie's gone as well. They come and they go, said the very popular prostitute. I knew a blind prostitute. I mean, what the fuck? Well, you've got to hand it to her. Oh, right. Grow up, Terry. Boy, you're 9. Is that Lana in? Hello, Lana. Are you all right, sweetheart? Thanks for joining us, and thank you for all of that. Very, very much appreciated. Control by fear is most ingenuous. It is, but it's very effective until you start to, you see what people need to do. All they need to do is get looking, get asking, get talking, and then eventually pull back the curtain of the Wizard of Oz, who is just a little wizened old bastard, just pulling on levers, pressing buttons and turning things, making everything look way, way, way more powerful than it actually is. You know? Again, I've got no fear. I have days where I feel a little bit anxious. I have days where I feel a little bit low. But I soon snap out of it. But never anything to do with fear. And if people can, when people start to relinquish fear, but then you see that's another problem we've got, is that people tend to take something powerful and remove it, and then replace it with something else. You know, they just keep replacing it and replacing it and replacing it. So at the moment, we've got an entire continent. I was going to say a country. We've got an entire continent full of very, very fucking angry people, you know, that are angry at their governments. And a lot of those people are going to turn that anger into rage. And rage is when you've lost control. You don't want to be losing control. Not now. Not now. So their anger, not for everyone, will go from anger to rage. And then when a few people have managed to get through to them a little bit, but again, that will be fear that's been replaced with anger and rage, you know? So you guys, we will need to be the cool cats, you know, the ones that the voices of reason. Talking of voices of reason, I'm quite glad that Alex Belfield's back, right? I know that he's a bit Marmite, right? And I've got to admit, I didn't think he was going to be able to survive jail. You can usually profile people that are going to do very, very badly to the point where they're going to come out in quite a bad way, you know. And I thought he was going to be one of them, but no, he's come out flying. Shushy, you know. He's trying to sell books and stuff. He does go on about things a little bit, but his video today, where he was doing an impression of Angela Rayner, was hilarious. It was really, really good, you know. But I think one of the reasons why he ended up going in prison in the first place is because he was too gobby about stuff, and then he was having call-in shows where people were calling in, and it was live. These were lives, so he didn't know what the next person was going to start talking about, and the next person was going to start talking about. And I've seen him close a few live streams down early because people were calling in and talking about stuff that just needed to be talked about. And his following started to get quite significant. And again, you're looking at another example of the butterfly effect. So it only just takes Alex Belfield, who some people, you remember Alex Belfield? He used to be on the radio. Oh, yeah. He's not on the radio anymore. No, he's on YouTube now. He's got a YouTube channel. Oh, I've not been on that YouTube. I'll go on it. I liked him. He was good, him. So before you know it, he's adding extra people to YouTube and extra people to his audience, and more people listening to what he's got to say and what people on the call-ins had to say. He woke a lot of people up, paid the price, but he woke a lot of people up. So for that reason, Alex Belfield, I salute you. Yeah, sustainable goals. Hey, let me tell you about sustainable goals. You see, some of you, again, this is a case of, sometimes I think to myself, what's the point in talking about that? Because it's probably everyone, or because old news is like that to a lot of people now. It's like, I heard this morning, or I heard this yesterday. So it's not relevant anymore, when it really is. It really is. And periodically, I will keep bringing things up, like the Southport massacre. I'll keep bringing that up, like the genocide of our senior citizens in this fucking country. I'll keep bringing that up, so that it never, ever, ever becomes yesterday's news, ever. Heads need to fucking roll for that. So going back to the sustainable goals, I don't know if you knew. I don't know if you know this, but some of you won't. So I'll tell you anyway. But I'll start off with, because this kind of segues into it. So Silicon Valley, that almost became in fact, it is still a cult. It is a cult. Without Silicon Valley, we wouldn't have had it, and hardly any of this shit. The the level of data harvesting that we're experiencing right now, to the point where they're having to build sensors that require immense amounts of water to keep them cool, whilst they keep harvesting this data on everyone and everything, right? So Silicon Valley was a cultish place, completely devoid of Christianity or Catholicism in particular, right? Now, Silicon Valley is rife with Catholicism. So you would think, well, how did that start? Even though I know none of you is actually thinking that. I'm just putting thoughts into your head. I do apologize. Sustainable goals, yeah. So the Pope Francis, the one that he might as well have had horns, right? And a big satchel full of child porn, right? That's how evil and fucking twisted that guy was, right? So I'm hoping that he's enjoying the warmth of the flames that are licking his body for eternity in fucking hell, The Pope Francis launched the 17 sustainable goals with Barack Obama in 2015 at the Vatican. Did anyone know that? Yeah, hanging out and listening is fine. Just listening, and then just chiming in with a little bit here and there. Oh, I'm glad that you like Alex, Lana. I do think he's, like I said, I think he's Marmite. I think some people just think he's a bit much. Personally, I think he's when you look past the facade, I think there's quite a delicate, sensitive bloke in there, you know, who's just got a good heart and wants to make people smile. And yeah, I think he's one. He's not that old, yet his approach is that of like late 70s, early 80s family entertainment. Do you know what I mean? He's kind of got that vibe about him, and that's something that's missing now because they've all been cancelled. They're either cancelled or they're dead. Jim Davidson, he's still keeping it alive, you know. Bless him. Big fan of Jim Davidson. Yeah, he has an Ilana. That's it. It's the only way I could really think. There's just he's got something about him that's nostalgic, and whether it's in England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, any of the Five Eyes, America, you know, we are missing something that used to be wholesome in family entertainment, that used to be uplifting. It used to lift us up, and that is the absolute opposite of what they want now, because they're feeding on negative energy, right? As woo-woo as that sounds, as long as you're kept negative, kept low, your vibrations are kept low, then you're not much of a threat. You know, if you can laugh in the face of adversity, you know, if you can look in the face of adversity and go, "You're a cunt, fuck off," you know, they don't like that. They really don't like. My baubles falling out. Bear with me. It's a little bit all over the place. I am thinking about cutting it down a bit, guys, to about there, you know. So to any women out there that I don't know, have got an infatuation for, I don't know, excessive nasal hair or something like that, I'll post you the rest of this in an envelope, and you can stick up your other half's nose, ready for Freaky Friday or sexy Saturday, you know. Do it for date night. So I'm just going to put it back on. Just bear with me. But this is getting harder and harder to do, you know. Oh, and another thing I was going to do as well. Hold on. Oh, that'll do. Okay. And you know what, right? You know, all of these tobacco plants that I've been trying to sell, no takers, and now they're too big to post. And I don't want to kill any of them. I don't want to compost any of them. I don't want to do any of that, you know. So I'm looking around my house and I'm thinking, where the fuck am I going to put them all? And I've not got enough pots. How does this work? Well, I wasn't expecting a screw. Not on a Thursday. Hold on. Yeah. Come on, England and Scotland and Ireland. You know, I am concerned about Ireland. And again, so to anyone that kind of goes anywhere for their research other than YouTube, you will have come across posts where people are saying, you know, anonymously, Storm, leave. Anonymously saying that they've had stuff delivered, crates delivered to hotels, right? And there's been two, just as far as I'm aware, just two examples of two whistleblowers stating that there are live weapons and live ammunition being delivered to some of these hotels, right? All I want to say is that both of these, only two people, right? I don't know why I did that, because that's four, right? Or peace, man. Only two people, both completely anonymous. None of them said which hotel it was. I understand they wanting to be anonymous and not give their name. That's fair enough, you know. But as far as not wanting to point out what hotel it was, you are duty bound as a patriot, knowing you've got friends, family, you know, kids. You are bound. You are duty bound to put that much, at least that much information out there. Take photographs, you know, and then have some sort of dead man switch, and then make it clear that, look, if anything happens to me, I'll make sure that a lot more, even more information gets out there. Just do something. I know I would. I know most of you would. But there are no details. Just some dodgy woman and some dodgy bloke. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't AK-47s in crates in the basements of loads of these hotels with grenades and sidearms. You know, I'm not saying that is not the case. That is not what I'm saying, right? What I'm saying is there's no evidence, right? And then there are a few people that overheard the police say outside a mosque, can you please just go back into your mosque and take your weapons back in with you? A weapon can be a baseball bat. A weapon can be a knife, a machete. We've all seen these fucking third world, you know, low IQ motherfucking cockroaches running around with machetes, you know, like there's some sort of extra out of fucking Lawrence of Arabia. But no one's seen anyone with any guns. No one's provided any evidence. So all I'm saying is that we should just be aware, right, of it being a possibility. Not just rolling with it like every fucker else does. You know, I've seen the tweets and then the amount of retweets and people going, yeah, I've heard that. Oh, and I've heard that from someone else. Get a fucking grip. We need to be basing everything on facts and proper full on gut feeling, you know. And so far, I'm not getting any of them. There's nothing to say that further down the line, when the government is overrun and they can't contain us anymore, that they're not going to harm these people, because that is a significant possibility. I think we've all come to that conclusion. And I think, again, you know, I've got a lot of concerns about Ireland, a lot, which is why I'd really like to try and help in any way I can. I think Ireland is going to be like the test bed, because I mean, England is only a small island and they just plowing them in. You know, it will get to about 1 million a year, maybe 1.5 million a year, which is completely unsustainable. It's not sustainable now. And then you've got people saying, and I'm sick and fucking tired of hearing people say, well, it'll be all right when reform gets in. I just feel like going, bang. Listen to their body hit the ground, and then taking a big, deep breath and thinking, I've just done you a favour there. When you wake up, think about it. You know, think about the nonsense that's spouting out of your fucking mouth. Because we're not even a year in, we're not even a full year in yet of Keir Starmer. And I did say back then that I don't, you know, and I have said a few times that what they do is when things get too heated and someone gets too hated, they just gently just go, right, okay, come on, you've done your job. Thank you very much. In fact, you've done a fantastic job, but just go out the back door. That's it. And then usher in someone else that's going to build up people's hatred. That's how they do it. So he's not going to do a full term. That's not happening. It's not possible. It's not possible. I'm getting a bit hot now. So he won't do a full term, and the country are not going to accept the ginger growler. You know, that would be the ultimate insult to the British public, to have that fucking chavvy little cunt bitch as a prime minister of this country. But then you think to yourself, nah, that they would never let that happen. You know, someone like her, they wouldn't let that happen. Yet she's literally the deputy prime minister of the UK. You couldn't make it up, right? So then you think to yourself, they allowed someone with early onset dementia to take office of the United States of America, the leader of the free world, apparently. And he was clearly not with it then. They're literally taking the piss out of us and going, they'll do nothing. They'll do nothing. So nothing is off the table. This is all bent, you know. It's all bent. You know. I need a beard. I need a beard stylist. Anyone a beard stylist? You know, on piece rates. But I need you to be on the end of the phone whenever I need you. All right. They do use crates. I have seen wooden crates used for those and owned by Arabs. Yeah, but the thing is, Melanie, is that no one's actually taken any photographic evidence. There's just, the point I'm trying to make is that we've literally got two people, one anonymous woman and one anonymous bloke that have stayed 100% anonymous, that have said that there are crates of weapons being delivered to their hotel. And that's it. You know, there's nothing else other than that, you know. And we can't go on that. We can't go on that. It's not enough. It's something that a lot of us have been thinking might be the case. loads of us, including myself, for quite some time. But that's all it is. It's just hearsay, and we can't just go by hearsay, you know. And yeah, I could have copied that you know, these tweets on X, copied them and then posted them in the post section of the channel and gone, check this out, we're fucked, you know. But I wouldn't do that for two reasons. Firstly, there isn't any proof, and secondly, we're not fucked. We're only fucked when you start to think you're fucked. The amount of people that have said, Terry, is your glass half full or half empty? And my answer will always be the same, is that I've got a glass with water in it. That's it. Do not doubt it, in my opinion. So let me just clarify. I'm not saying that this is not the case. I am not saying that we are not having weapons delivered to these hotels ready for the green light. I'm not saying that is not the case. What I'm saying is there's no evidence. Absolutely no evidence. And considering there are 200 plus hotels, maybe more, across the UK that has in upwards of 150, 200 cockroaches. And the vast majority of these hotels are being staffed by a mixture of British traitors and more cockroaches. So you would think that statistically someone would have taken some photos, or someone would have found out a little bit, gathered a bit more, did a bit more evidence gathering, and you know, but there's nothing. So until I get a little bit more evidence my way and a few things start to fall into place, then yeah, you know, we'll have a proper good talk about that. But even then, even if they arm these cockroaches with AKs and they start to patrol our streets, they won't last long. They won't last long. There are so many people thinking, oh, we've got sticks and stones. They've got AKs and grenades, right? I never, ever, ever think we can't beat them. We can't beat that. I'm constantly thinking, right, how are we going to do this? That's it. I'm not a defeatist. And there's a million ways to skin a cat. You know, a million ways. Apologies to anyone. Let's just put pipe bombs. Hello, Nick. You're all right, matey. Oh, thanks for joining us, man. We don't see you very often, so thank you for joining us. Much appreciated. You know, the more the merrier. Yeah, there are loads and loads and loads of ways to deal with these people because we're smarter than they are. Way smarter. Like significantly so. Yeah, it's good to have you. Good to have you, you know. Don't be a stranger. I know that sometimes Friday nights don't suit everyone. A Thursday night's not going to suit everyone. A Wednesday might not suit everyone. it's not every night's going to suit everyone. So every now and then, I think it's only fair that I should mix it up a little bit, you know. But a midweek one's never going to be a late one. You know, we're not looking at like 2-3 o'clock in the morning, nothing like that. I mean, ordinarily we will have just got started by now, but we've been going for about an hour now, which is good. Yeah, and yeah, do you know what? And so let's move away just temporarily, move away from AK-47s and pipe bombs, right? And just move into something preppy a little bit for a minute. Right, so our roofsmith sent me a little present today, right, of something that only grows on the coast. So I can't grow these inland. And I'm fucked off now because I can't remember what they're called, but it's a certain kind of berry. And when you start looking into what these berries have got in them, mind blowing. A proper fucking superfood that will make the ultimate, or one of. I've not even opened it yet. So Ruth Smith sent me this, but another one of our tribe sent me something lovely in the post as well. Really, really lovely. But I'm not going to mention who that was until I get a thumbs up to say that it's okay to mention it. Like I said, I'll never ask you for a penny, ever. I'll never grift, ever. That's a promise I made from the start, and that'll never, ever change. But every now and then people send me something lovely in the post, you know, and it's lovely. It's so lovely. It really is. So our Ruth Smith, her channel is Butterfly, sent me these berries. Now, I've never tried one, but I'm going to save all of them and make a tincture out of them because of the power of what's in them. And then I'm going to have a little faff around on my phone just to find out what they're called, because I've completely forgotten. Look at them lot. They smell nice. Well, then that could be the remnants of the ice cream that used to be in this tub. So I'm going to just try one, and then what I'll do is I'll do a post of what these berries are. They only grow by the sea, so we can't grow them inland. But she went foraging and picked a shitload of them for me. Look, there's enough there to make a really nice amount of tincture. And the list of what these things have got in them, just mental. And I've never ever heard of them, and they grow in this country along the coast. So I'm going to try one. She said they've got an acquired taste. Now they taste very, very fruity. There's a very sharp, sour, bitter punch in the face, but it doesn't last very long. And then you've got this lovely after flavour, this lovely aftertaste. Oh, I wish Ruth was in the chat so I could find out what they were called. You know, let me put them back in the fridge so they don't spoil. But I'll be making a tincture out of them, and I'll do a video on it, and I'll give you all the information about it. So if you can get hold of these freeze-dried online, and then maybe make a tincture or maybe some sort of drink, you know, like what is it when it's dilute to taste? You can make a syrup out of it. I forgot what it's called now. Anyway, but I am going to do a follow-up video on these funny yellow berries that grow by the seaside. Everything we could ever need, everything we could ever need to keep our bodies healthy and fully functional, it's all out there. Nature provides everything we need, but because we've kind of gone right off the path because of the influence of these big families and the dark forces that are around us, you know, we've just gone right off the path. But I'm determined. I am hell bent on getting back onto that path of natural remedies, you know. I mean, if you could see my book collection now, I mean, it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And one of the things that this lovely lady sent me today, not Ruth just sent me some berries, but that's going to make an amazing tincture, was this little book here. And it gives you kind of like a blow-by-blow account of what people were eating, what people were trying to get by on and cook, trying to make healthy meals for their family whilst on rations, which is what we will be on. A, if there's an SHTF, and B, anyway, because they're going to make food scarce. So this little book is a really useful little book. But as soon as I opened it up, and I got a couple of pages in, and I had a mouthful of tea, and Zephyr nearly got it all, because it just cracked me up. Because it's a very British book, you know. You see, I don't know if America ended up with rations. Because it's just such a big country, you know. It's got 50 states, and many of them can just grow food all year round. So I don't know if there is like a ration thing going on over there. I'm sure during the Great Depression it was challenging. That was probably your equivalent, maybe. But this, like trying to conserve water, right? And I nearly spat my tea all over Zephyr. Oh, you can't make it out. I mean, if you could just make out their face, the look on their faces, they're both sharing a bath, and the expressions on their faces is like they've both kind of moved at the same time in the bath, and his big toe's gone up her arsehole and her big toe's gone up his arsehole at the same time. They're both like, and it says, one is accustomed to more than a drip. And it says 5 inches of water could go a surprisingly long way. So 5 inches of water, and then you both get in the bath together, you know. I think couples should have a bath together anyway, because it's a lovely thing to do. It doesn't need to be a sexual thing, you know. It is unfortunate that the bloke always gets the tap end, you know, and it can be quite dangerous as well for a man, because if you're like fiddling around, or your missus's toe ends up going up your arsehole and you jump and you pull the plug out, your bollocks could go, you know, the suction of the plug hole could suck your nutsack into that hole. You know, you women don't realise your ovaries are on the inside. We're very vulnerable, especially in the bath. So just bear that in mind. Sea buckthorn, that does sound familiar, Nick. Yeah, that does sound about right. One of the highest antioxidants you can get when juiced, right? So you imagine making a tincture out of it, because you're gonna draw all of the thing is when you make it, if you say, for example, I juice all those berries and then I neck that, right, and I'm like, you know, everything around me is just better, right? But they're seasonal, so at some point those berries are all going to be gone again, and you got to wait until next year, unless you dehydrate them, and then you're losing loads of the goodness, a big chunk of the goodness out of them. If you freeze dry them, I don't know anyone that's got a freeze dryer. I'm sure you can buy them freeze dried. I've not actually looked into that. Let me have a quick look. But I'm telling you, right? Buckthorn berries. Honestly, why the fuck I've never ever heard of them is beyond me. And now I've got my own, you know. Thanks to our Ruthie. Right, let me have a quick look on eBay, see if you sell them on eBay. So you've got a rough idea. I don't mind doing the legwork. Freeze-dried buckthorn berries. Freeze-dried buckthorn berries. You see, with 2025, artificial intelligence with no fucking intelligence. It's spelled book, as in book, with pages. Bear with me, guys. Couldn't make this shit up. Everything's meant to be easier. Whoa. Yeah, it's not cheap. Yeah, it's not cheap at all. Fuck me. Wow. Yeah, have a look online. You don't get much for your money. One A quality. 1A quality. Right. You see, you know, stuff like this, if there was enough people that were interested, but they've been dehydrated. You want freeze dried, harvest dried. No. Yeah, you're looking at a lot of money. Yeah, they're not cheap. They're a lot more expensive than I expected them to be. And I'm just pissed off that I can't access them without having to, you know, to travel to God knows where. And they're in abundance where Ruth lives. She's on the Welsh coast. Where are we? Concentrate. It's a great wee book. Loads of info inside. Hey, Lana, I've only just tickled the covers. You know, I can't wait to get stuck into that. I've just not had a chance yet, sweetheart. But thank you so much for sending it to me. I really appreciate that. Now I've told you who sent me it. If you don't mind. It's later in the war years, England much longer. Yeah, I did wonder that. Because I know that the Great Depression was very, very, very bad, you know, And I've learned quite a lot actually from, you know, it's kind of given me ideas on prepping. If the British people do a little bit of studying on the Great Depression, on how people were getting by, again, it's just going to make you more and more and more resilient, and that's so important. Grocers went to jail for selling more than the rations in America. Okay, now you couldn't make this shit up. This is why we prepare. Stuff appears wild food wise for. I need to go and get my other glasses, because let me just pause it there, right? What a lot of people don't realize is that you're seeing a constant light hitting my face, but an LED light, which is what's hitting my face right now, is actually a strobe, you know, but it's a strobe that's so fast that it looks constant, you know, and our eyes aren't meant to be dealing with this shit. So let me just go and get my other glasses, and I'll catch up on the chat. Just bear with me. They might be down here, actually. Let me just double check. Yeah, I'm slowly, very, very slowly working my way through the whole house to try and remove all of the LED lights and then replace them with the old ones, you know, just so that because it's not normal, you know, these proper filament, old-fashioned filament lights give off light from a heated element, so it's essentially like fire, you know, whereas these LED lights, it's just like just flash 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 so fast that your eyes don't register it. It's not good for us. That's better. Plus, I've noticed that when I finish a live stream, it doesn't take me as long to sort of kind of come back down from it, so I can relax and then go to sleep, you know, which is a challenge at the best of times for me, because it's just full of chaos most of the time, as I'm sure you can relate. Right, let me just go up a bit just so I don't miss that, and then I'll read everyone's messages, and then we'll carry on talking. I just don't want to lose anyone out, you know. Right, okay. Stuff appears optimal health. Yeah, antioxidants are so important. Tea, coffee, right? They are two things. I drink a lot of tea, a hell of a lot of tea. And tea, oh, it's a bit of I'm not sure if oxymoron's the right word, or I'm not sure, where one cancels the other one out. So with tea, shop bought tea, not only is that tea, generally speaking, mass produced. So if it's mass produced, then it's mass sprayed, you know, glyphates, and it's not good, right? So mass-produced tea is mass sprayed, and then to add insult to injury on a nation of tea drinkers, you then have it put into a plastic tea bag that doesn't look plastic. Then you put it into a mug, fill it with red hot water that's melting that plastic into your cup of tea and releasing all of those pesticides and herbicides into your tea. And then if there are what few antioxidants are left in that tea, because good organic loose tea is extremely high in antioxidants. But as soon as you add milk to it, that cancels them all out. So I now don't drink tea or coffee with milk in it. Because of the antioxidants. We've got our bodies are so full of fucking poisons now. We're breathing it in, we're drinking it, we're eating it. So if we can try and be mindful of trying to find ways to bring some sort of balance to our bodies, just to make us as optimal as we possibly can. Where are we? For instance, cleavers and nettle are great for clearing toxins. Yes, they are, especially nettles. So underrated. Out of the system, coming out of late winter. Yeah, but again, with nettles, you've got to be careful, because there's a certain time of year where the sap in the nettle plants themselves starts to crystallize, and it can turn into an irritant. Look out for this book, 101 Uses for Stinging Nettles by Piers Warren. It's not very thick, but it is packed full of all of the information that you need to make full use of this incredible godsend of a plant that most people just, avoid. And you don't need to go too far in to get the stinging nettles either, because most dogs have experienced nettle stings on their genitalia when they've been having a bit of a piss, right? So dogs don't piss very far into nettles because they stay well clear. Because you imagine you're a dog, right? And dogs are very, very intelligent animals. Very, right? So they remember, just like we do. We learn. It's like, right, that flame, my first experience with the flame, fucking hurt, that did. I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to be more careful around it, right? So you imagine you're a dog and you lift up like that, and a little nettle comes up and stings your little gonads. You're going to be like, oh yeah, fucker. You're not going to do that again. So you're going to associate, because their sense of smell is up to 10,000 times more powerful than ours. They're going to be able to associate the smell of that plant with pain on their genitalia. So they don't piss that far into a line of nettles. So you don't need to go far in, really, to pull nettles out that haven't been pissed on. You don't. It's just the little bugs, and that's all you need to get rid of. That's it. But they're really, really good for different reasons in different times of the year. And the seeds as well, when they go to seed, the seeds are full of omega fatty acids. Amazing plant, amazing. And if you allow them to ferment, if you get a load, chuck them in a tub, some warm water in there, not too warm, fill it up, loads and loads of nettles, just chuck them in there, just fucking put a lid on it, get rid of it, just chuck it out the way, forget about it, and let it ferment, right? And that'll turn into a super, super concentrated food for your plants. Get that book, Please get that book. Even metals are great for cleansing toxins coming out of the winter. This prepares our bodies for the different minerals and vitamins we should be getting in our spring and summer diets. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah. Yeah, he's a very detailed chap, is Nick. I like him. He's an asset. But then you all are. Buy Whole Foods online, £20 for 250 grams. Yeah, that's what I mean, Lana. 250 grams, it's not very much. Not really. I think it's probably one of the most expensive berries out there, but then it's probably one of the best berries out there. Stuff appears wild food wise to when it's needed for our bodies to be optimal health. Oh yeah. Sorry, I've just read that. A great book to read is The Hunter-Gatherer Way. Ooh, Pushing Back the Apple by Fiona Campbell. Oh, hold on a minute. I'm sorry I keep getting up and down. I do apologise, but I would like to write that down. Especially the first one. In fact, it's the first one that's just got my attention. Again, I hope everyone else kind of reads the comments and writes stuff down and then starts to research stuff, because, you know, as a collective, we're so resourceful. We've got so much collective knowledge between us, you know, and sharing it for free. No, buy my book, or I'll tell you a bit more about it in the members area. Fuck that. You know, we're at a pinnacle, critical point in humanity's very existence. So for people to be making money out of that now really fucking gets on my tits. You know, make money afterwards, you know, but for now, let's focus on helping each other for free. Where is it? The Hunter-Gatherer Way. Right. I will definitely be looking into that. Where are we? Right, so 30, that's what I mean, 30 quid for 200 grams freeze-dried. Because freeze-dried is the only way. It really is the only way. For something this important and this healthy, again, can you imagine how much money you could make if you had the initial money to outlay for a half decent freeze dryer? You know, I know plenty of people that have considered clubbing in, but then I've pointed out to them and said, look, what if it's you know, is it going to be your ass for like 2 weeks, then their ass for 2 weeks, and then their ass for 2 weeks, then their ass for 2 weeks, or a week or a month, you know? Or is it going to stay at one house? And if it stays at one house, what happens if it gets broken and you can't afford to reimburse everyone that's chipped in? You know, it can cause all sorts of problems. So you would need to be able to afford one for yourself and then make a business out of it, you know, by freeze drying stuff that's seasonal and then selling it online or within the community in exchange for food. There's so much we can do. Again, think outside the box constantly, because that's where we need to be thinking now. But yeah, freeze dried stuff, it holds on to almost all of the goodness. Dehydrating most food, you're getting rid of a lot of the goodness. Freeze drying is just it's putting it through a cryogenic process, so it's just everything's just been held in animation, you know, until water's added to it, you know, the liquid of life, and then before you know it, it's almost completely fully 100% reconstituted, and you would never know. It's mad. If I could afford a freeze drying machine, I would buy one in a fucking heartbeat, because within the first year, if you market yourself well, or but I think that's probably the right term. If you market yourself well, that freeze dryer will pay for itself within the first year. So everything that you use in that freeze dryer from then on is just pure profit, you know. And I was very, very shocked at how long freeze drying's been around. We were talking about whole egg freeze dried organic whole egg powder, right? That will last years if it's stored right. And then someone was mentioning that powdered eggs were on ration cards. And I said, yeah, but that must have been dehydrated egg. And I did say that. I remember saying that. Well, I admit I might have been wrong about that, because freeze dryers have been around for a very, very, very long time, you know, pre-war. So it's quite likely that they were freeze dried. It was freeze dried powdered egg. Again, freeze dryers. I can't speak enough about them. Everything seems to be right. Thanks for. I should have checked that, Lana, you know, before I said anything. But yeah, Lana sent me a little box. I won't go into everything that was in there. But I will show you another thing that I think is a really important prepping item that I think most people have overlooked, the vast majority of people, and it shouldn't be, because it's for what they cost. Teas are a very, very good way of getting beneficial vitamins and minerals into your body, right? And I've already gone through the whole tea bag thing, and like, you know, being sprayed with fuck knows what, and then you've got this molten plastic bag in your mug as well, you know. So I would highly recommend. Again, this is predominantly a prepping channel, so I think it's helpful if we talk about prepping stuff from time to time. In fact, let me give you a comparison. I don't know why I brought that in. So another thing that Lana sent me, right? So I already had one of these because I drink a lot of sage tea. I've got a sage bush. I love the word bush. I've got a sage bush out there that just keeps giving and giving and giving and giving and giving, right? I keep taking and taking and taking and taking and taking and taking, and it keeps giving and giving and giving and giving. And it's non-stop. It's fairly well drought resistant. It's in it loves full sun. And it's about 15 years old. And it's an evergreen. Sage is an evergreen, you know, so you can take from it all year round. So I do drink a lot of sage tea. Now, this what you need for something like that is an infuser, right? So if you look at that infuser there, and I'll bring it closer, the only downside to this particular infuser is that the mesh holes are still not quite, when you've dehydrated loads of sage leaves, you're going to end up with sage dust, which isn't dust. It's just very, very tiny little pieces of leaf. And that can work its way out of the infuser and then into your tea, which then reconstitutes because it's been dehydrated, and then you end up like that. Now, Lana sent me this. The mesh on that is so ridiculously fine that nothing can get through it. Nothing. And there's the little hook on the end, look, right? So you just put your, sorry, darling, you just put your sage leaves or your nettles. Nettle tea is very, very good for you. Very good, right? As is hawthorn tea, whether it's the leaves or the berries or both, you know? So in order to get a lot of this goodness into our bodies, one good way of doing that is by making teas. But you need a really, really good infuser. And thanks to our Lana, and I do really, really, really appreciate that, Lana. Thank you. I've now got one that's got super, super fine, you know. So what you can do, what you can start doing, like I said, I've stopped using milk in my tea. I've stopped using milk in my coffee so that I can benefit from the antioxidants that come in coffee and in tea, right? So when you buy some tea, you've got your diffuser. Again, anything that takes a bit of effort is always worth it, you know? It's convenience that's got us into this fucking mess we're in today. And apathy. So all you need to do is just tear open your tea bag, put it into your infuser, and then just leave it. Stir the water up, your hot water up, and then just leave it in your mug for a few minutes. You know, that way you've got no microplastics going in around, breaking your blood-brain barrier, and then making you stupid and bring on early onset Alzheimer's and dementia. Just saying. Because I love tea, you know. Anyway, I feel like I've kind of gotten behind a little bit. I do apologize, guys, but I do think that was important information by way of keeping yourselves healthy and detoxified, and getting it get that goodness getting into your body, you know, quicker. Right, where were we? Everything that appears in the natural landscape when we are meant to ingest it. Yeah, it's all there. Some of this stuff, a lot of these, there are quite a lot of berries and things that do. There are some things that need to go through at least one process to make them human friendly, but not many, you know. And you know, you can find out the hard way about the poisonous stuff, but then that's usually berries and mushroom and fungus. But once you start to discover what berries are, you only need to know 10 different berries. That's it. If you want to expand on that, you fill your boots. The more you know, the better, right? but you only need to know 10, and that's not hard to do. You already know blackberry, you already know elderberry, but elderberry does need to be cooked down if you're going to be eating it in quantities, if you want to get the benefits from them. We've got raspberries and, you know, hawthorn berries, you know. There's a bush that I pointed out. I'm so sorry. I'm so fucking immature sometimes. There's a bush down where I take the girls for a walk where they look like red currants, but they're not red currants. They're not. Someone pointed out that they are not red currants, but cooked down, they are still usable and still full of vitamin C. Animal protein in winter and following the bird eggs downstream towards the sea for summer. Yeah, well, I'll get into that, mate, because I do like stuff like that, and I like to expand my mind, just like everyone else does, especially from a prepping standpoint. The more we understand, the better our chances are, you know. Jordan, the skills and knowledge we have forgotten in the past 100 years. Just think of what has been forgotten in the past 2,000 years. Mate, honestly, I think about shit like that all the time, and I know for a fact I'm not on my own, you know. But now that we've started to realise all this, now that we've started to understand that and comprehend it all, there's nothing stopping us from reverting back to that. It's just a case of having no fear, you know, in trying to find yourself, into trying to ease yourself or shoehorn yourself, and not shoehorn yourself, because shoehorning is forcing. We're not going to be forcing our way or ourselves into an old way of life. What we're doing is returning back to it. We're just returning to where we should be. But you're absolutely spot on there, Jordan. Hello, Ray. You're right, sweetheart. Bit late, but better late than never. It's a woman's prerogative to be late. It's always a woman's prerogative. Thank you for joining us, sweetheart. I wonder if they can be water bathed. Is it water bathed or water bathed, Lana? And it's one of those funny ones, because you can put it's water bathed, and it'll still be spelt the same way as that. So I'll still be none the wiser. But I don't know. But I'm sure if anyone can find out, you can. Or dandelion and licorice root too would be great in it. Oh yeah. Bath, water bath. Right. Okay. Yeah, that's it. That very, very, very interesting. Yeah. And licorice root's very good for you, but I'm not sure. I don't think you can grow that in this country. I think you can grow it as a house plant and then just literally take the roots. Some people think it's the twigs of the actual plant of licorice. You just snap a little branch off and just chew on it. And it's not. No, it's the roots. Where are we? I got a couple similar tea infusers the other day. Been enjoying a mint tea in the evening. Got chocolate mint, peppermint, spearmint. I'll tell you what, Jordan, mate, you've done really, really well. It would be lovely to, because Jordan's got his own channel. If anyone wants to go over there and just show a bit of love, you know, it'd be nice for you to expand on that a little bit, Jordan. Just get a bit more content out there. No, not pushing, not pressuring. Just saying that the more the merrier, and people are interested in what other people are growing and the benefits of what they're growing and stuff like that. People love stuff like that because we're all going to benefit from it, you know, by sharing our knowledge. I've got one type of mint growing, although I have thought about growing a few more because I do love them. But then it's just I'm trying to weigh up what I can grow to that's the maximum healthiest thing that I can grow, and then trying to take into account that I've got only a set amount of plant pots, a set amount of space that I can plant things into the ground, a set amount of space for house plants to bring stuff into over winter. I haven't got a greenhouse. I haven't got a polytunnel. I'm just trying to find out as many ways as possible to utilize what I've got, which is what everyone should be doing. Everyone. Peppermint tea is great for digestion, and if you have an upset tummy, it's a lovely tea. Yeah, it is very, very good. And oh fucking hell, it's gone. I do like mint. I don't know anyone that doesn't like mint. You know, I knew someone that had have a fag. They were chain smokers. They'd have a fag, and they'd go in the garden and they'd just take a leaf off the mint plant and chew on because they didn't like the taste of the aftertaste of having a fag. So they'd go out and pull a leaf in. You know, Gilda Rose. What's Gilda Rose? What is that, Nick? Can you expand me, oh China? I've heard of it, but I can't remember what it is. There you go, Jordan. You've got another sub there, mate. Because I quite like your content. It's I think mine can be a little bit over the top sometimes. I get a bit passionate about things a few times. I can imagine some people might watch the occasional video that I put out, not often, and feel fucking knackered out after listening. Whereas, you know, there are other people, Hearts Homestead as well, Hearts Humble Homestead. You know how we were saying about, I was saying that we need to be quite inventive and creative with certain foods that we've stockpiled. Now, you wouldn't believe how much rice I've got, right? And Hearts Humble Homestead showed how to make Rice Krispies with coconut oil, Rice Krispies, because she did mention in the comments section that she wasn't really thinking, you know, well, how important are cereals really, you know? And I pointed out that when the shit hits the fan and everything is a bit up in the air, routine and familiarity are key for keeping you grounded and sane. So if you've got Rice Krispies and then you've got shitloads of powdered milk, you know, you've got a cereal there that's going to remind you of when things were normal until they get back to a better normal, you know. But she made Rice Krispies from rice fried in coconut oil, and she fucking nailed it. She didn't nail it first off, right? That's another thing I like about her. It came up, fail 1, fail 2, fail 3, fail 4. I think it was either a 7th or 8th attempt that she'd nailed it. So she'd done all that to save you from fucking up 6 times. So please go over and show her some love as well, because her channel's lovely. And she went and she took some produce that she'd made and grown at home to an agricultural show, and she got medals. You know, she got awards, and she's one of us. She's a natural, so I'd recommend everyone utilize their channel. I really would, but I know it's probably not for everyone. This is right. I didn't know you could do that, Lana. Right, so everyone, if you want to just click on that link there and just, but then Jordan's going to feel like, don't feel rushed or pushed into having to knock out loads and loads and loads of content, brother. You know, it's not about that. It's about supporting each other. That's it. That's it. But there's a link there that Lana's just put in if you want to go over and just subscribe and then come back again. Take some seed with you when you go out and on the dog walks and put a few seed. I have been doing that, Nick. Yeah, I've spent the last maybe just the last 2 years really of exploring my area a bit more and trying to figure out what I can get away where, so that I get where you're coming from, Nick, to extend my growing capacity. And you're absolutely spot on. And I have found some good spots where people, and good plants as well, that people who just walk past. They walk past and won't have a clue. You know, most people haven't got a clue. You know, most people who just walk past a rowan tree and look at, maybe glance up at the sheer amount of berries that these fucking trees produce, and think, oh, that's pretty, and then just carry on. You know, not knowing that those rowan berries can be used. They've got, again, it's another berry that needs to be cooked down before it's safe to eat, really. But again, it's another antioxidant and another source of vitamin C and various other vitamins. Might be the red berry you were talking about, but couldn't remember the name of it. Oh, right, got you, Nick. Yeah, yeah. It's with that because I've got no photos on my phone, you know, and in fact, maybe if I just do a quick search, I'll know, because they look like the leaves are the same, the color of the black currants, the red currants are the same, everything's the same. And I was convinced that they were red currants, but they're not. But there's a lot down there. You know, it's quite a resource. Right, what did you say they were? I've lost it. Let me just go up again, Nick. I do apologise, guys. Just bear with me. This is all... that does sound right. That does sound right. Gelder rose, right. Photos of a Gelder rose bush. Oh, they've not given some very good examples here, mate. Oh, that looks about right. That's spot on. Yeah, you're right, Nick. Yeah, good on you, mate. Thank you very much, brother. I really, really appreciate that. Yeah, Gelder rose. Now, on one of the paths that I take the girls on, there's just Gelder rose bush, Gelder rose bush, Gelder rose bush. There's a lot of very, very unhealthy plants down there. A lot of almost what look like dead trees now, you know. Considering I've been going down there for 20 years now, thousands and thousands of times. I've never seen it look like that this time of year. So it's quite concerning. And then another thing to take into account is that if all of these plants are giving up their berries this early, what's going to sustain the birds during winter? So I'm getting a load of stuff in, you know, fat balls and stuff like that. I've already got one fat ball. Getting fat balls in, various different seeds and stuff like that, just to make sure that there's plenty out there for them to keep them going through the winter, you know. Nature needs a lot of help right now. And bees are down around 90% from last year, which is horrific. You see these elites. I don't like calling them that because they're an elite is someone that is at the top of their game, right? They are exceptional at what they do, right? So Usain Bolt, I would consider him an elite athlete because he's created world records, right? These elites, what are they famous for? Global genocide. I don't like calling them elites, but they'll have fully automated, state-of-the-art technology underground to produce perfect fruit, perfect this, perfect that. They will have got the spectrum, like the lighting, and they would have mimicked nature in every single way possible, all underground, whilst we're up here fighting over a few scraps. Take some seed with you. Oh yeah, I've read that. Right, sorry, I've gone off. It's Ruth. It's our Ruthie. Yeah, Ruth, hey Ruth, you missed it. I got my box out and showed it to everyone. It arrived this morning, or sort of mid-afternoon-ish, and it's in the fridge now. I've just got it out, so they've arrived perfectly safe. And we were just talking about this particular berry, and and I just want to confirm that Nick was absolutely on the nose with what they were called. So if you can just remind me again of what those berries are called, Butterfly, just to make sure. Sorry, Ruth, just to make sure that we're all on the same page. But I'm pretty sure that he's right. But I'm going to make a tincture out of them, Ruth. And if you want me to make you a tincture out of these berries, because I'll have plenty, well, just let me know. Email me your address, and I'll send you a tincture down, because it will draw on all of the goodness out of those berries and then hold it and sustain it, because it's an alcohol, so it's a perfect natural preservative that doesn't ruin the goodness of the antioxidant properties of the berry. Where are we? You're never too late there, Ruth. Never. Moto Romas. Hey, I did a foraging course last year. I haven't paid for any veg since. Nettles are a big part of my diet now. That's brilliant. A lot of people, especially people that are a little bit like us, where we see the world for what it is and how it is. Whereas there are a lot of people out there that just don't see past their noses. And I think broad-minded, wide-minded people that have got a really good peripheral and aren't twisted up into the system and I can see the little green lights coming up on the audio, so I know you can hear me now. Fucking hell, we've gone right down to, we had a nice little audience of about 15 people, and we've gone right down to 3 because of old tech and annoying glitches, you know. So I do apologize, guys. You know, it's a shame that that so many people have got such a short attention span that they can't hang in there just wait, just hang in there. It's never down to me. I think in all of the live streams that I've done, which is probably about 50 live streams now. So you imagine 50 live streams, each averaging at 4 hours each, right? There's probably, I think there was one live stream where I wanted to end the live stream because I'd become emotionally compromised, you know, and I just couldn't carry on with the live stream. But that was quite a while back, you know. So it is very frustrating, very annoying when technical little bastard glitches like this happen, you know. Ugh. But I love Ruth. I love Ruth's kind of just reminds me of the Fonz, you know. The jukebox was like reverend. The Fonz would just go over and just go bang. When I was young. That's it. It plays perfectly. Sometimes you just need to give it a right good fucking whack. But the thing is, if I give this laptop a proper good whack, it will be fucked forever. And then that'll be the last of the live streams because I just simply can't afford to shell out for another laptop. I just can't. They're too much, you know. Having said that, so going off subject a little bit to come back on subject again, someone put a post-it note on my camper van window saying, is the camper van for sale, and a phone number. So I'm going to contact that person tomorrow, and if it's not a pikey, because I'm not going to sell it to a pikey. It's not happening, right? I've had pikeys come round and how much do you want? How much you want for the motorhome? What do you want for it? How much was I for it? I'll tell you what, I'll do you a favour. I'll do it. You know, because you're a nice man. What's your name again? Terry. My name's Seamus. I tell you what, I'll do you a good deal. Because only because I like you. And I don't like everyone, do I? And he's got his son with him. He's like, no, Dad. No, you don't. I'm like, I'll offer you £1,000 for it. In fact, no. That's an insult to you. I'll offer you £1,500 for it. I'm thinking, fuck off. So I'm going to call this phone number tomorrow and I'm going to say, are you local? Right? If I pick up on a pikey accent, that's it. I'm done. It can stay on the drive for a bit longer. Yeah, fucking hell. Anyway, I was on a right roll there. And a few people have gone to bed, which is a shame. It's a right bastard. You know, when you've got flow going and then all of a sudden it all fucks up. But yeah, thank you for those of you who've kind of stuck. Noticed your Union Jack while screen was paused. Yeah, the plan was, Devon, is that I was going to try and sell some tobacco plants online at a bargain price, undercutting every other seller on eBay, right? Loads of watchers. It's buy it fucking now, right? So it's the best deal on eBay, and people are just watching it. No one's actually buying any. And the problem I've got now is that these greenhouses, these little mini greenhouses that I started these tobacco plugs off in, the plants in them now are so fucking big that I'm not even sure if they're even postable. I'll show you. And I've kept them in the dining room where there's not enough light, where there's not much light, to try and slow down the growth rate. Look at that. You know, I've got to try and get a fucking lid on that, and then in a box. No takers. And do you know what? I'm just shocked, because as soon as someone pointed out to me that we can grow our own tobacco and all of the health benefits that nicotine has as well, again, you know, you don't need to be a smoker to appreciate what the nicotine can do for your body, right? You don't need to be a smoker. You just cure the leaves, just cure them. Doesn't take much, dead easy. Put them in a diffuser and make a tea. That'll extract all of the nicotine out of them, and then it'll go straight into your bloodstream. So even trying to quit smoking, this could be an alternative, you know? But again, I'm falling back into that trap of, when I compare myself to others, I set myself up for disappointment, because I'm thinking really, really practically about this. But people aren't. It's like, oh no. If I grow my own amber leaf, it won't be the same. It's amber leaf. It's exactly the same, minus the additives, the harmful additives that's been added to it, and the fact that it comes in a plastic packet. This is a no-brainer. But this, again, but that's just me and my rational mind. You know, we're constantly having to navigate our way through a world where common sense and rationale and logic seems to have gone out the fucking window. You know? Right, well, I'm glad everyone can hear and see me okay again. The hearing bit especially, you know, because I don't know sign language apart from, that's it, you know, or that's the only sign language I know. I think, does that mean love? That's a real one, you know. I went out with a girl that was, you know, had a degree in sign language, you know, long time ago, in my very, very early 20s. So all I was interested in was what's sign for fuck off, what's sign for cunt. Just childish shit, really, you know, when in actual fact I could have learned an inaudible, an inaudible language that could have then gone on to be another qualification to put under my belt in the support industry, a support industry that in the UK now is aiming to only employ people from certain ethnicities. So I've nearly 2 decades of working in the care industry, and some of the vast majority of that was with people with learning disabilities. So some of them were difficult to understand when they were talking to me, and some of them found it difficult to understand what I was saying to them. But after a while of getting to know them, you get to, and with effort which should be required, you make that connection with them. Now you get someone coming in from like the deep dark depths of the fucking Congo, right? And they're like, and they're trying to communicate with that person, and all they're getting back in return is unga bunga bunga. And again, that sounds racist, but I'm not. I'm just doing how they sound to me. I can show you a fucking Catherine Tate. In fact, let me demonstrate, right, just how politically correct this fucking world has become, and I don't want any part of it, right? I am me. Since the day I moved out of home at 16 years old, that was the day that was the day that me being told what to do ended. Catherine Tate, interpreter. Right. If you just bear with me, you know, just for a laugh, right? Because we don't get much of a laugh these days, right? And I think that it's only 2 minutes and 41 seconds. And what I'll do is I'll go and top my drink up, and you'll have a listen to this, and then we'll carry on chatting afterwards, okay? Right, so bear with me. So basically they've got loads and loads of people from around the world, you know, a little bit like a Davos meeting, and all the interpreters have, I don't know, been on the same coach together. It's just gone off a fucking cliff. So you got Catherine Tate. She's offering to go in there and interpret all of these people's languages so that it's, you know, understandable, right? So I'm just going to play this for you. And the thing is, you can't see the countries, because it shows you a country and it will just be Italy. And then she'll do a bit of Italian. And then it'll be Africa. And then she'll be like, and then she'll do her version of African. And then Swedish, she'll be like, right, okay, I'll do my version of Swedish, right? So I'll just play it. But she's just looking at the name tag and the flag of each person that sat around this table, and then she's trying to interpret to these people. I'm just going to go and get myself a drink. Enjoy. Nothing's ever straightforward. Tech drives me mad.
No, I'm having a bit of a nightmare, actually.
What's the matter?
Well, I've had all the international CEOs from around the world in this room. In 10 minutes, the annual summit's supposed to take place. They've flown thousands of miles to get here, and my translator hasn't turned up. I need to find someone who can translate into 7 different languages.
Well, I can do that. Yeah, I did a TEFL in my gap year.
Welcome back to London, ladies and gentlemen. This is Helen Marsh, who will be our interpreter today. So, without further ado, let's address section 1.1, multinational profiteering for the financial year 2005-2006. Helen.
Swedish.
Hurdy-gurdy-gurdy. Hurdy-gurdy-gurdy-gurdy. Gurdy.
Indian.
Oh, bud.
Italian. China. Africa.
This is not my sandwich.
Now, I don't know when that was made, right? But now you do an impression of someone else's accent from another country, you're a fucking racist. Can you believe that shit? You know? So, me doing a Pakistani man, right? Fucking bastard, bitching bastard. Fucking bloody bastard. Bloody bastard, fucking fucking bastard, bloody. That could be seen as racist. Yeah, that was something that was a meme that was going around for years. It was hilarious. And it was literally someone that had video recorded an interaction between two Pakistani men. On average, a significant lower IQ than you. On average, right? So again, I ask you to bear in mind, right, that the British have brains and brawn. So when we start looking at the possibility of AK-47s in being stored in secure sections of hotels ready to be broken out to take to the streets as some sort of fucked up Team U fucking peacekeeping battalion going around the streets, they don't stand a chance. They don't. And it's mad, you know, because if or when that happens, because I've got a barracks, if you look in the post section, I've just posted a video in there by an auditor called Truth Hurts 101. And he's just found out about this brand new built, lovely little mini estate with houses worth upwards of 300 grand. And they've all been given out, they've all been bought by the government and are being rented out by Serco. And that's exactly what's going to happen down the road from me, right? But at least a lot of the neighbours around that estate, a lot of the community around that estate are aware of what's coming, right? Anyway, yeah, where are we? Good. Right. Noticed your Union Jack while screen was paused. Yeah, it's when I was talking about the tobacco plants and them not selling, one of the things I was going to do, you know, was just because they're not going to be able to beat that price online, which is why I thought they would just fly off the shelves. I really did think that they were going to fly. And in with each box of tobacco plants, I was going to put a Union Jack pin in there, you know, like what's on my beard. these things here. It's like just as a little free gift, and well, no, my luck, it'll be all Pakistani men that have bought these tobacco plants, right? Or anyone else that's just anti-English, you know, and then I'd end up with negative feedback, right? When I've got 100% positive feedback, 4,000 plus something, right? I'd end up with negative feedback because I'm being racist because I've sent them a Union Jack flag in the post. Welcome to England. Noticed your I think it's time of year, Terry. Why my note takers could be wrong. Do you know what, Ruth? That did cross my mind. I just wish people would realise that, you know, at the end of the day, there were going to be people with greenhouses because they could survive in a greenhouse over winter as long as it's not too horrendous. They could, and they could always, you know, pot some up and give them to friends and family members as well. This is just, it's insanity. To me, you know, each plant can give you 100 grams of tobacco plus, right? So 100 grams of tobacco plus from one plant. These are 12 plants, and it's 45 quid for 50 grams of tobacco. So 45 pounds worth, 45 quid for 50 pound for 45 grams for 50, 45, fuck me. Whew. It's 45 quid for 50 grams of tobacco with additives in there that are dangerous. One plant can supply you with 100 grams plus, right? And there are 12 of them. So it's just simple maths, common sense. And I've got no idea why they're not flying. But we've got to try all these different things because we need to be trying to, and the one that's fully grown that Michael gave me, one of the flowers, because all of the flowers, they grow and they're lovely flowers. And then when the flowers die and they go brown, you just pull the flower out. And then sometimes the sternum, which is the cock, the dick of the flower, if you like, right? Eventually, that might stay in there, but when that goes to a bit withered, pull that out as well. That sounds terrible. Like I'm providing, like I'm doing some sort of gender reassignment on a fucking flower. Oh, you couldn't make this shit up. 2025, Clown Planet. But I've pulled all the dead flowers out and I've put them in my little kind of tub that goes in the, you know. And one of the pods that's left, which would be the tobacco plant version of a rosehip, right? Because I've not had another adult plant to go with it, I assumed that I wouldn't get seeds because I need to cross-pollinate, right? Well, that one darkened pod was full of seeds. So it is possible for us to be able to continue to grow tobacco forever, but without paying these ridiculous taxes on it, you know? And again, going back to the fact that you don't need to smoke it. All you need is an infuser. And there are lots and lots of videos and there's lots of evidence out there that nicotine dissolves a lot of this nanotech these nanoparticles that we're breathing in and is in, well, you know, it was in those for certain, you know, but they're aerosolizing it now. So we're breathing it in as well. So nicotine can destroy that. So we've got something that can get rid of nanotech, something that can get rid of parasites, something that can get rid of microplastics, something that can get rid of heavy metals, all completely organic and natural. You know, we can survive this poison. We can do it. But we need to, first of all, understand it. So research and the gain of knowledge, and then know what to do, what to look for, and how to deal with it. And it's all doable. We've done it before. You know, before the Rockefellers came along and fucked up natural healing, you know, and put their petro fucking big pharma shit out there. Oh, you've got a problem. What's the problem? Oh dear. Oh dear. Here's some tablets. Right? That's it. That's all you get now. Then you start getting side effects from those tablets. You go back to your GP. You go, I've got side effects from these tablets. Yeah, that doesn't. Yeah, that's not very typical. It's not. You know, it can happen, but it's very rare. Here's some tablets to take care of that. So you're getting tablets to take care of the side effects from another tablet you've been given that you could have found a natural cure for. Absolute fucking insanity. And we're seeing all this, but there are shitloads of people out there that haven't got a fucking clue. Again, you know, we were talking about Trump earlier on, and Trump turning around and apparently he feels like he needs to turn around and say, look, Operation Warp Speed. I was ill-informed about that. Yeah, well, Trump, your massive, giant, overinflated fucking ego was probably part to blame, you know? Reel it fucking in. So if he comes out and starts being negative about Operation Warp Speed, which was the American version, in case anyone doesn't know, the American version of our Operation Moonshot, right? So more and more and more and more people are waking up and starting to realise that, fuck me, I've lost members of my family directly off the back of those jabs. Your government policy is responsible for me losing my mum or my dad or my uncle or my auntie, you know? So whether or not anything's said or not is another question, you know? But they're still allowing shitloads of geoengineering to go on over there. You know, they're just fucking finding other new ways to fuck them up, you know? Anyway, where are we? Interfamily marriages does no good for their children's health, and I'm sure brain power is as well. Yeah, well, you think about that, Ruth, over, you know, what, the last 1500 years ish of Islam. So that's a lot of inbreeding over a long time, you know. Again, there's something on Twits or X or whatever, right, where people can do these spaces where it's like us, what we're doing now. But instead of me reading your text and then you listening to me and then responding with the text on the screen in the chat, everyone can speak to each other. But it's a case of the person who's running the space can mute that person, and mute that person, let that person speak, then let that person speak. So there's no one's talking over everyone. but I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot from different people's perspectives on this, from these spaces. They're very, very interested, and I would never have known about. I would never have gotten into X if it wasn't for Lana sending me the occasional kind of post from X that you just simply won't see on YouTube. And I do think that that's all part of the lure to get you into X. So, but if you do go in there, which is a wealth of information, and I do recommend it, just don't have a paid account. Just don't enter your financial details, you know. And another thing as well, you know, I think it was a couple of years ago now, there was an alarm that was sent out, like an alert system sent out to everyone's mobile phone, right? Now, when I knew that was coming up, I wrapped my phone up in one layer of foil, right? Then got someone to try and ring it, then another layer, then another layer, then another layer. Then I put it in the microwave, close the door, ring it, and it rang. It took 7 layers of tinfoil to block out any signal so that it couldn't be reached. I have got some little Faraday pouches on the way, but they won't reach me in time because the date, if you didn't already know, I've cooled down a little bit now. So that's what I mean. I've got absolutely no insulation on my head whatsoever. So if I cool down, I'll cool down quick. Right. So that alarm that's going to be hitting your smartphones, your cell phones, if you're listening from America, is on September the 7th at 3 p.m. Right. So. And unless you turn it off, unless you physically click on the screen to end that alarm, it will just carry on going and carry on going. So when you click stop, are you consenting to something on your phone? Storm! Is it a form of consent? So when the first ones came out, which was a couple of years ago, I think, something like that, right? I made sure my phone was well blocked, right? So that couldn't get in. And I'll be doing exactly the same thing again when they do this again, because I don't believe in the reasons that they're giving for doing it in the first place. When we all know that our governments couldn't give a fuck about us, right? So why would they want to give us some sort of legitimate or early warning system to help us survive and thrive past something that's extremely bad and nefarious, you know, when they want us all dead? So it doesn't make any sense, does it? You know? So what is their fucking agenda with that? Do you click accept? Is that a form of acceptance for something? Who knows? But I'm having none of that. My phone will be, because I don't trust, I've got a bit of a Faraday cage going on, but I don't 100% trust that. Where are we? Oh, BS has joined us. Hello, BS. You see, BS normally stands for bullshit, but I'm sure you are not bullshit. And thank you for joining us in our little trap. That, again, I'm thinking about this. You have to press on your screen to end that alarm going off, you know. Or is that paranoia? I don't know. But yeah, welcome BS, and thank you for joining us, my friend. Tobacco is something I want to try growing. I'll see where I am with money after tomorrow. How would I find your eBay? Well, do you know what, Jordan? I'll send you some just for the price of the postage. You know, it's different for you. It's different for any of you. Next day tracked delivery is £5.40. So that's all I charge you just for delivery, and that applies to anyone. And there's no. I will be making a loss at that because I'll be using fuel to get down to the post office. But I'm here for the betterment of anyone that's part of this with me, you know. So for the record, Jordan, I wouldn't make a profit off you. So if you want some, just let me know, and I'll send some to you. Email me, but don't leave it too long because these plants are getting a bit too big. I think they're still, with a little bit of delicate, maybe if I just kind of nip a couple of leaves off here and there and just put the lid back on and that. I mean, I've gone through everything that I can. I sent Lana some as an experiment, right, to see how they would fare in the postal system, right? And when Lana sent me photos of what she'd actually received, I was so fucking pissed off because there's no accountability whatsoever. And this is the sort of box again. So I will be out of pocket because I will have paid for the little greenhouse that it comes in that's reusable, so you can then start growing stuff next year using that little greenhouse. Because they're brilliant. They are so fucking brilliant, these little greenhouses. I love them. I do. I bought a shitload more for next year. But I've also had to shell out for boxes that Lana managed to source for me that would fit these boxes with a little bit of packing out, right? The packing out, I needed that space to pack it out to protect the contents. And it didn't work with Lana. But these plants are way more established than the ones that I sent Lana now. So even if there is a bit of soil here and a bit of soil there spilt out, mate, it won't make any difference. It'll be fine. All you need to do is just take them out and put them into pots. Or if you've got a greenhouse, you know, you'll be good to go. Well, look at what I've written on the boxes. I mean, you can't be, and this was written all over the box that I sent to Lana. It was written all over it. Yet if I sent you photos of what she'd actually received, you know, there was like big kind of like dents in the corners and scuffs on the edges, and you know, fucking just pay attention. Pay attention. Have we got the same people working for the post office as we have for fucking Just Eat? But yeah, if you want to look at my eBay account just for a laugh, it's Mr. Womble 2009. Mr. Womble, because I've got one ball. Yeah, thanks, Lana, for putting that in there, sweetheart. There's my email address. It is in the description box of the channel. And it's there for a myriad of reasons. If you want to discuss something you don't want to discuss on here, you know, whether it's something personal about yourself or you know, something that you think should be brought to my attention, or whatever, or if you're just feeling alone, you know, I might not email you straight away, but you will get a reply. I promise you, you'll get a reply. You will. But yeah, BS. That is my YouTube email address. I don't use it for anything else. Don't forget to put 1 after the name BS. Oh yeah. Rose Hippie Guy 1. Yeah. That's what Ruth means. Do you have to pay for an X account? No, Ruth. You can do if you want to push your contents. I only use it for information gathering. So I do retweet stuff, and heart stuff, which kind of does help. I think it's got a similar algorithm. It does help to push stuff, but it's an absolute gold mine in comparison to any other major platform. It's a gold mine of information. It is possible that 4chan could be also a good unedited, de-restricted, unrestricted place to get information as well. But in with that, there's also a lot of dodginess as well. But 4chan seems to be fighting this Online Safety Act /bill. But yeah, I would recommend getting an X account. You won't believe how much information you can get on there about what's going on that's hidden from us. But again, that makes me suspicious. I think that's part of the lure, and that's why I'm saying don't get a paid account. There's no need. If you're just going to use it for getting information and knowledge, then it's good for that. Anything else, don't put your bank details in there. But yeah, in answer to went right round the answers again, Ruth. The answer to your question is no, you don't have to pay. And generally, you don't need to have an X account to see any of the X posts that I've put in the post section as well. So please check that out, guys. It's full of information that you really need to know. I turned my phone off before it happened last time, but hubby had it on. I will turn my phone off again. I think it's more than turning it off, Ruth, though. Because if it's something nefarious they're sending into your phone, again, call me paranoid, right? But it's just, why the fuck are they doing that? They don't care about us. You're better off literally cutting your phone off, unless you've got the ability to take the battery out of your phone, which most phones don't do that anymore, right? Because that did make you untraceable and untrackable. So I would just seal it off. 7 layers. So first layer, wrap round and then pushed underneath. Second layer, wrap round and pushed over the top. Third, under. Fourth, over, like that. So there's no way in. 7 layers. Just to be sure. Don't forget, take some of those berries, Terry, so I can see your reaction. Oh, Ruth, I did have one earlier on, right? Because it was a first for me, right? It was a first. I'd never tried it before. And I was very open and I was very honest. But do you know what? Because you sent me them all, I'm gonna go and get another one just so you can see a genuine reaction, right? But it wasn't all negative. It wasn't a negative. It wasn't a negative opinion. First and foremost, because I'm not. I'm just such a grateful person. When someone does something for me, I'm so grateful, and instantly feel like I have to pay them back in some way. You know, I'm just like that. I've always been like that, right? So for you to box up all of those berries for me and then send them to me and being out of pocket for doing so, yeah, I wish you'd accept some payment. I really do. But for now, I have 1, 2, 3 of the berries, right? I only put one in my mouth before. It's that initial pop. It's like, fucking bastard, you fucking bastard. And then it's gone. And you're just left with this fruity, almost like a tropical fruity taste, you know? They're not unpleasant. It's just the initial pop of the berry. It's just a bit fucking, and then you're all right. Anyway, carrying on. It's free only if you pay premium. Yeah, I don't pay for the premium version. I'm not interested. I get what I need from it, and that's it. And then I share it on with you guys. Sharing is caring. It really is. It really, really is. I didn't read this. What did I go to? You didn't read his post properly. Yeah, if anyone wants any, you know, look, you've given me so much. And because I am a little bit on my arse at the moment financially, if you can just cover the cost of the postage, I'll send it to you for nothing, you know, including a free little greenhouse and a free box. And yeah, not a problem. Just email me. Just cover the postage just to help me out. And do your research on a box that size. I don't know what I've done with it. A box this size with that weight. Feel free to have a look on Royal Mail 24-hour tracked, and you'll come to realise straight away that is exactly how much it costs. You know, I won't charge anything else. Not for you. They had come out of the soil and been tossed around a bit, but only 4 small leaves were broken. I replanted back into their containers and gave them a little water in each, and they were fine the next day. Yeah, I've planted one tobacco plant up in there just outside, and I thought that's not going to make it. That's fucked. It is fucked. But I'm a green-fingered, life-giving guy. You know, I can't give up. I remember being like 6-7 years old and seeing a little mouse or a rat that had just been mauled by a cat, and the cat's just thought, I've had enough fun. I'm going to fuck off now. It's one of the things I don't like about cats. They leave innocent little lives to suffer. You know, I fucking don't like that at all. I forgot where I was going with that now. But yeah, anyway, it's just gone boom. It's fucking sound now. Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. It's the getting them from the seed to the plant. It's that bit. That's the tough bit, because these seeds are the size of pieces of dust, you know, just little dust. And I'm doing all that for you. It's all already done. I had to come out of the soil and thanks. I would at least like you to break even or get yourself a drink. Jordan, just cover the cost of the postage, mate, and email me. We're good to go. We're all giving, you know, all of us, we're all giving. But we should never give to receive, just give. And if everyone just gave without wanting to receive, there are exceptions. If I let someone out of a junction, I want that person to fucking recognize my courtesy. Call it selfish, call it what you want, you know, but I just think courtesy is important in a civilization, you know. So yeah, a lot of things like that. Even if it's just your hands are already on the fucking steering wheel, just go like that. That's it. Just some acknowledgement or a nod. Don't just ignore me, because I've just slowed right down. I'm in a rush anyway. I'll slow right down to let you out, because you could be waiting there for hours and I get nothing, right? That's the only time I expect some sort of something, you know. And even that, is that selfish? But just anyway, just email me, Jordan, and we'll take it from there, brother. No, nothing more needed. It's on me. Just cover the postage, and you'll get a lot of tobacco, mate. Fucking hell. I mean, I'm just, because I've only got one adult plant. Look, people might not be queuing up at my door right now. To get tobacco, because they're probably very, very, very slowly and gradually getting themselves into more and more and more debt, right? Or they've quit because they can't afford to feed their habit, which is, again, the additives, right? Or they just can't be fucking bothered, and will learn further down the line that it was actually a good idea to maybe take that bloke up on his offer. And plus the sign on outside saying, it doesn't show the size of the actual plant. I've shown the size of the actual plant on a live stream, and they're very, very tall, but they're very erect. They're very they just go up. They're vertical. So this is one that I'm currently curing, because I've only got one adult plant. But I've got a fucking shitload of potential adult plants that I'm not going to know what to do with, and I don't want to waste them. So this is one I'm curing at the moment. As you can see, when they go yellow, just cut them off and then just leave them to hang. And this thing here, you know, when in the 80s and early 90s, when you got a loaf of bread, there'd just be a little plastic thing with a metal little rod through it, and it was just like a bendable thing, right? That's all this is. It's one of those things that you'd get on an old loaf of bread, and I just pierce straight through the thickest part of the stalk of the leaf, and then hang it around in the kitchen. I can't really show you. Hang it around, twist it up, and just leave it to hang, you know. And that's from one plant. And then I've got all these. I've got silica in there just to make, because you don't want mold. Mold is something you want to avoid at all costs. But these are all completely dry, ready to be shredded and either smoked or made into tea. And the amount of tobacco that you can get from one plant, right, pays for the plant twice, just from one plant. And I'm selling tubs of 12 in a little greenhouse, its own little fucking greenhouse, you know. And like what Lana was saying, and like I was saying earlier on, these plants are so tough that once you've actually managed to get them from seed to what I've got now, they're virtually indestructible. You know, it's like, you fucking just got a blowtorch on me. Fuck you, I'm still growing. You know, you just sprayed fly spray all over me. Fuck you, I'm still growing. Actually, that's probably not true, you know, but you get the idea. They turn into very, very tough, very, very fast growing plants once you've got to plug stage. But it's the dedication that it's took to get these to plug stage. You have to spray them with fine, clean water, right? And then I've managed to get the exact right soil. I've got a soil tester, right? I bought it from when I was trying to grow things for Sal, without going into any detail, right? So it can test the acidity of the soil, and so I've got the soil bang on for the seedlings. I've got the substrate to go over the top of the soil, bang on for this plant, right? To the point where pretty much every seed germinated, you know. I've got so many fucking tobacco plants now, I don't know what to do with them. So I'm quite happy to send some on to people that will use them, you know, even if it's just for pure medicinal purposes. Anyway, where were we? Yeah, honestly, take Lana's Lana's recommendation there, Ruth. Once you've entered into the world of X, formerly known as Twitter, you'll realize that there's a lot more information on there. The more information you've got, the more prepared you are, right? So but again, it's a case of discernment, because there are a lot of people on there that have got shiver brains, you know. They hear they repost something that's been reposted 10,000 times, right? That could have been from anyone, from anywhere, just to stir up fear in people, right? So you've still got to be discerning, but apart from that, it is a good source for information. It really is, which is why I post so many posts from X onto the post section. You're appreciated too, BS. It's just every time I say BS, it's an abbreviation of bullshit, you know. So I do apologize, sweetheart, or may, I don't know if you're male or female. I don't know. I'm thinking female because I appreciate you with a kiss That's a very feminine thing to do. So I'm assuming you're female, and I'm assuming that BS are the initials of your name, as opposed to bullshit, which is just the way my brain works. I do apologise. If they are in a container, did you put classic bands round to keep it all together? Just a thought. Elastic bands. No. What? To be honest with you, if you'd have seen the way that it was packed, Ruth, and then the way it was received on Lana's end, there's not really much else I could have done, to be honest. It's just people that have got no fucking no passion for what they're doing. You know, there's no care involved in signage on boxes anymore. They just don't give a shit. It wouldn't surprise me if Royal Mail were employing cockroaches. It wouldn't, because that's one of the reasons why they one of the reasons, or one of the excuses that they are now using to pull you into a digital trap. So, well, we've discovered now that they've been encouraged by you, and now you're saying, we've discovered that they've been working on the side illegally. They shouldn't be working whilst waiting for their asylum applications to go through. When half of them admitted that they're from Eritrea and Egypt and shitloads of countries that aren't at war, and then passing through every single country that is a safe country to get to us, an island. But yeah, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't surprise me if they were using cheap, backwards labour, you know, just to get all this stuff through, because people are just not using the shops anymore. All the shops have closed down now. The ones that they did use regularly, you know, have closed down now, and so now they're going online. So there's a lot more work, a lot more packages coming through. So they're not paying attention to the fragile, keep this way up, you know, and then when it arrives at where it's going to go, and it ends up in a mess, who are you going to complain to? At least with eBay, you've got a little bit of backup, you know, because I have put in the actual description that I'm selling them on, that even though all care and has been taken, you know, and I've shown the boxes, even shown the boxes, you know, this way up, fragile, blah, blah, blah. All care will be taken. From previous experience, some people may receive in a mess, but the plants will survive, you know. Again, no lies, no lies. Yes. If they are in a container, did you put? Oh yeah. Your plants stand taller than our government law. Oh, you're Betty. Oh, hello, Betty. I responded to one of your comments in one of the videos, sweetheart. It's lovely to meet you. Lovely to meet you. And yeah, I think we've got very like minds, which is good. Oh, good night, Lana. And thank you for sticking around and helping us out. Always appreciated. We'll take this up to midnight, because I don't want to set the piss with anyone. I know it's school night, you know. But yeah. Betty sporadic. I do like that, sporadic. I like the word sporadic, you know. because that word is going to be such an the concept of that word is going to be so important moving forward. Sporadic. Oh my God, they are UK plants. How we respond. Yo, xXx. I don't get that. I don't get that, Betty. I'm sorry. That one's gone right over my head, darling. If you can elaborate, I'd appreciate that. Right, Lorna, night all. I got to go as well. Kids are back at school. Oh, of course they are. Yeah. Hey, Jordan, thank you for joining us tonight, brother. You are always appreciated, mate. And a few more people are aware of your channel now, and they'll go over. You know, you've got some bushcraft skills there, and I think you've got a lot to offer. It's a very, very therapeutic channel to watch. And there's not enough of that. There's not enough of that on YouTube. Not really. Not realistic therapeutic visuals. So learning stuff, picking tips up and tricks up with very little narration, just watching and calming at the same time. That's pretty much Jordan to me in a nutshell. Ruthie, would you like some mullein seeds sometimes to go with your tobacco rollies, Terry? I don't know what are mullein seeds. I've got no idea what they are, Ruth. Yeah, no problem. And I think I'm spot on with my take. As I was saying it, I was being honest, but I was thinking, is he going to feel offended by this? But my honesty is my honesty, mate, and that's how I perceive your channel. And what I see, but it's definitely perceived in a very positive way. Otherwise, I wouldn't have mentioned it to everyone, you know. So I hope you don't feel kind of forced or pressured into putting more content out now. But on the flip side, again, honesty, again, I do think that every now and then people come along and say something that gives us a kick up the arse and makes us start to put more content out there, because it both benefits the creator and the people that are watching the content, you know. So, I mean, I can give you one little example now, and Ruth knows where I'm going with that, right? I put a video out once that wasn't my video. It was someone else's video. It was a video full of hacks, right? Not only did I get a copyright strike for that, but Ruth put in the comments, I can see crap like this. I can search and find crap like this anywhere on the internet. Come on, Terry. It was something along those lines, right? And I hope you don't mind me talking about this, Ruth, because it's a positive ending, right? So that was at a time where I was slipping, and I was slipping and slipping and slipping. I was. And I put that out just thinking, I just need to fill a gap, you know. That one comment, I took that so personally, because Ruth's been with me right from the start of the channel. I took it so personally, and it pissed me off so much that I mentioned it in a video, which I shouldn't have done. I shouldn't have made it personal, because she was absolutely right. And it was what she said that gave me a kick up the arse, that sent me onto another level of putting content out, you know. So Ruth, to some degree, is responsible for me continuing with the channel just by pointing out, just by criticizing me, which at the time I was very sensitive and it annoyed me. But I've made it very clear to Ruth that if it wasn't for her saying what she said, I wouldn't have had that kick up the arse that made me start to drive things forward now with a completely, absolutely no going back attitude, you know? So publicly, thank you, Ruth. Mullein plant, very beneficial for that 100%. I'm sorry, I was wrong saying that 100%. No, you weren't though, Ruth. You weren't. I'm not going to. I don't. One thing we don't need to do or here is turn this into a shoulda, woulda, coulda type live stream. I just wanted to tell you publicly that you were right and I was wrong, and you gave me the kick up, the emotional kick up the arse that ended up making me really plow into the fucking channel and plow into everything. Just plow, just keep fucking plowing like a bull, you know. And you really helped me with that. So you weren't wrong in saying what you were saying, because what you said was true. Okay, all right. Well, what you said was true. Right, so what we on? We'll give it another 10 minutes or so and then we'll shut it down, because I do know that people they've got to get the kids up in the morning and stuff like that. You know, the 6 weeks holidays. It's when the 6 weeks holidays start for the kids, it's like, you fucking have it, you know, come on, you know, 6 weeks of bare sunshine and fun and having and chilling out with my friends, you know, right? But for the parent, it's like, oh fucking hell. Fuck. And then at the end of the 6 weeks, the kids are all, oh, I can't believe I've got to go back to school. Oh man, so pissed off. But most parents are like, fucking yes, thank fuck for that. That was the longest 6 months, that's it, longest 6 weeks of my life. Longest 6 weeks of my life. And then there's another aspect of that. What are you sending your kids back to? You know? When I said to one of Sally's friends about 4.5 years ago, because she's a librarian, Sally's friend, a librarian at school, junior school. I mean, it was nursery, infants, junior, senior, right? That's how I remember my past. Now it's year 1 now, year 5, year 6, but fucking year this, year that, whatever. I don't get it. I don't get it, right? But she was a librarian for a junior school, and I said to her, I said, they're coming for our kids. 4.5 years ago, 5 years ago, nearly, they're coming for our kids. And she said, don't be stupid, don't be daft, you know. The amount of if it wasn't for the fact that I've cut her off now, as lovely as she is, and her husband, both lovely, I've cut them out. Because I know that it doesn't matter what I say to them, it won't make any difference. They won't get it. They won't understand it. They won't believe it. They can't see it because they're so brainwashed. They're so programmed. You're not. Yes, 100%. Or give info. to the right people. Yeah. You're a standout human, and I respect your honesty. Well, thank you, Betty. That's very kind. You know, if everyone was just honest, I think it is possible to be very honest, very outspoken, very passionate, and truthful without being insulting. But it is a challenge, you know, because some people, there's been so many times I've said something, it's been so interesting, I've posted something that's been really, really innocent and but truthful and honest, backed up by science and biology and studies, and I pointed something out and someone's taken offense to it, and it's gutted me because, you know, I don't go out of my way to offend anyone. And again, that's another thing, right? They can't. One of the reasons why I'm like, fucking come for me, piggies. You know, I look forward to the smell of cooked bacon across my fucking land because of the way that you've conducted yourself. The UK police force. You have been watched and are being watched by millions and millions of people across the world, the English-speaking world, and they're seeing your bullshit. You know? Find another vocation. Find another vocation. Because it's not going to end well for you otherwise. I'm fucking telling you. And if you've got an ounce of intelligence in that brain of yours, after your couple of months training, thinking that you know the law, you know, just to feed your fucking ego, I'm telling you, you are going to be seen as the enemy, and you will be treated as such. And you're looking at, it's a lot of people. You're significantly outnumbered. Again, I've got no doubt whatsoever that there are good police officers out there, you know, that have got the right, you know, I want to protect my community. But if they aren't seeing all of this now, even those, you know, what might be a police force version of moderates, if they're not seeing that now, and they're not seeing the way things are going and the disdain that the public have got for our police now, then you're fucked. You're absolutely fucked. You know, as a serving policeman or a serving policewoman, right? If you put a little bit of time into the service, there are very few people that would turn you down for employment as an employer. Very few, because it's seen as a moralistic, dutiful. It's seen as everything it's not now. So if I was to, honestly, I've said it before, if I could offer any advice out to the police now, it would be find another job. Find another job, you know. Yeah, the mullein plant. So does that grow in England then, Ruth? If it does, let me know. Right, so going back to your point, Betty, that I'm a standout human. I don't take compliments very well, and that's because I'm constantly pushing ego down, constantly. a lot of the time to my own detriment, you know. And I think that I think good people need to spend maybe a little bit more time giving themselves a bit of love. And I think a lot of us don't do that. And just being a little less hard on ourselves and allowing a compliment in now and then. But my mind just won't allow for it. But I still appreciate your very kind words, you know. But everyone should be honest. Everyone. Again, going back to all of these YouTubers that are self-censoring themselves and stuff, all they need to do I understand that some of this is important information that needs to get out to the public. I get that. I do get that, right? But if they stopped self-censoring themselves and started to grow a pair and started to fucking stop, you know, holding back on this and holding back on that and holding back on that, right? We're at a serious fucking precipice in human history right now, right? So it shouldn't be about this bit's for me members, and then if you can buy me a coffee and you won't hear this anywhere else and all of that bullshit, and not saying rape, right? When people say graped instead of rape, it's a fucking insult, a proper fucking insult to every single rape victim around the world. Use the word raped. If it knocks your financial income from the fucking beast that is Google, right, then so be it. The best way around all of this, right, to stop people from self-censoring and then coming across like they've got some sort of major moral compass, you know, conflicting information to me, you know, hypocrisy. If everyone just suddenly took a fucking platform and everyone was speaking out, it should never be about money. It should be about the betterment of the human race without this predator class. This is not a sequel. No, we've got one shot at this, right? And there are ways of making it relatively easier and shorter. And then there are ways of making it harder and more drawn out. And until the meatheads out there who are just starting to come around start to realize that they've been playing, the opposition have been playing a long game for a very, very, very long time. And they've got absolutely no idea what we're talking about, most of them, you know. We've got to be tactical to win this. But there's going to be so many fucking teething problems along the way in order for us to have a mass amount of people being tactical, you know, because we can't just keep pussyfooting around, right? We can't be thinking, I can't use that word, or I can't talk about this. Or will they think I'm racist if I mention that? Just trust your gut, right? Be who you are and say what you want to say. This guy who came over and was faced with again, you know, I don't like fucking up, right? I put a video out that was incorrect. And I can't remember who it was that pointed out where my indiscrepancy was, or my discrepancy was. I can't remember who it was. But for someone to point out a major fuck up like that, it knocked me. It knocks me. It does. Because integrity is important to me. It can take years to build up integrity and trust. And it can take that for it all to go. So to that person that made me feel uncomfortable and feel like shit, I genuinely mean it. Thank you for pointing that out so I could right it. I could correct it, you know? So we're not all going to get it all right all the time, you know? But and again, off the back of that, if you look a bit deeper into Sarah White, again, I trust my guts. Please learn to trust your guts, because that's telling you, you know, this is full of shit. There's something off here. Even if you can't quite place what it is, you know, just trust your gut. My gut was telling me there was something wrong there. Going back to the guy that was the writer of Father Ted and the IT Crowd, right? 5 armed police officers tackled him, not literally. And I know that a lot of the police force in airports are armed. Look at this, the 2 little packy bastards. Yeah, I said packy bastards. You know, again, that would normally get you nicked. But then you think, I'm British. When we go abroad, we're considered Brits abroad. Brit, abbreviation of British. So if I say Paki, that's an abbreviation of Pakistan. But I'm automatically deemed as a racist because I said the word Paki. Well, fuck you. You're spot on. I'm a survivor from the age of 6. That's all I'm saying. I can read between the lines there, Betty. I think we all can. I appreciate you and you showing the truth. Thank you, and I appreciate you more than you know. That's a lovely thing to say, Becky. Thank you, Betty. Thank you. That's very kind. And just hang in there. One bit of advice I would give to people that have experienced a lot of shit in their life, right, is all of those knives in your back, leave them in there. Leave them in there as a reminder. And you will grow stronger as a person as a result of those knives. And your sense of trusting people, don't let that go. Just hone it and own it. Learn to realize where it's deserved and where it's not, you know. And you can only get to that point, generally speaking, by those knives in your back. Mine are all there. I leave them all there. And as a result of that, my twat radar, my bullshit radar, my cunt radar, my fake radar is all very, very highly calibrated as a result of all of those knives in my back and the occasional fuck up where I've posted something impulsively. But yeah, so going back to this guy who wrote Father Ted and the IT Crowd. So yeah, they are. Yeah, so those packy bastards that got away with breaking up a policewoman's nose and punching the shit out of coppers, right? I'd have got 10 years for that. 10 years straight away. I would have been in the cells. I would have been up to court. I would have been straight from the cells under the court, right? Straight up from the cells into the dock, right? Perspex, because of the nature of the crime, right? And I would have been served 10 years for that, because the list of offences committed there, on top of the fact that the younger, skinnier one was a coke dealer. And again, this goes back to British people or normal people going out and catching paedophiles dead easily. The police aren't doing it, you know. And a few people delving into that package online presence, right? It came to life that he was a coke dealer, at least coke, right? So that took a citizen like one of us, you know, to find that out. That's not been mentioned on the news, has it? One rule for them, one rule for us. So fuck them. Whatever's coming their way, fuck them. So going back to the guy, I'm so sorry. So going back to the guy who wrote the IT Crowd and Father's Head, right? 5 armed police officers, right? That's a political stunt, right? To make people, because not only were the charges not solid enough to be able to kind of land in court, right? Because there's no law against offending someone. None. If I went to town on anyone in the chat here, right, and got really personal, right, and got really, really fucking abusive, just picked you out, right, and then went 10-ton fucking Terry on you, right? In the eyes of the law, there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. As long as I don't call you something that you're not, right? Like a paedophile or something like that, because that's defamation of character if it's not true. That's a criminal offence. Inciting violence is also a grey area as far as freedom of speech is concerned and freedom of expression is concerned. It's a grey area, right? But what this guy said was nothing. So not only are the charges trumped up, please believe me, the charges are trumped up. He was met by 5 armed police officers. He was given bail conditions off charges that are trumped up, which means that the bail conditions are can't be upheld. The bail conditions are bullshit. So my gut leads me to think that this is just another publicity stunt in order to put people off from being outspoken online and anywhere else. Just another stunt, just to instill more fear. Once you can see through the fog of bullshit, right? Nothing matters. Nothing else matters. The truth matters. There is nothing above the truth. You see, even Christians, right? I'm sure there is something in the Bible. Again, I'm not a Christian, and everyone knows that, right? I am the truth. I am the light. I'm sure that that's a passage in the Bible somewhere, right? I could go again. I've learned a lot more about the Bible and a lot more about Christianity as well over the last month or so. I won't go into now. But even in Christianity, I am the truth and I am the light, right? Those two things, nothing is above the truth, nothing. The truth is absolute. So as long as you maintain your course through life, right? Occasionally pivoting, adjusting, reacting, but your main kind of journey through life is of absolute truth, right? Then they can't touch you because it's the truth. So I believe that was I do believe that was a political publicity stunt. The same as Sarah White when she was stood at the top of the stairs after saying in a tweet that she made later that it was one of the most traumatizing experiences she had ever had. Yet she was at the top of the stairs, laughing her head off, doing a little bit of a dance, a little bit of a jig, you know. And then some people will go, yeah, but some people act a little bit weird when they're stressed out and they're traumatized. Watch that if you can. Find it, watch it, make your own mind up again. And then she was on TV, on Talk TV and GB News as well. And the way that she carried herself on that as well wasn't normal. There's something off. So yeah, I got it wrong. I got it wrong about the person whose handle was Reform Sarah. So that didn't help me, you know, with putting out information that wasn't actually accurate. But again, whenever I'm wrong, I will make a follow-up video and say I was wrong about this. You know, I don't like being wrong. Nobody likes being wrong. If you speak to anyone and go, do you like being wrong? And they go, oh yeah, oh, I love it. I love being wrong all the time. Then there's something snapped inside there. No one likes to be wrong. But to admit that you're wrong, you know, that does take guts. I was gutted when I realised I'd fucked that up. But then I did, because I trust my gut, I did a little bit of, you know, my due diligence and did a bit of research onto this Sarah White. And yeah, there's something off. The same as this guy that got arrested at the airport for a few memes. There's something off, you know. They can't impose the Human Rights Act, the Human Rights Bill, ECHR. They can't uphold any of those three things without including you in it. So your freedom of speech, your freedom of privacy, you've got so many of your rights that are being curtailed right now that you've literally, every one of you have literally got a case to go to court. But then you go to the courts and the court system's fucked up. Our judiciary system is in tatters because we're getting old school judges, again, still cunts because they're still working on maritime law instead of common law, right? Still cunts. But even then, they're being replaced by left-wing judges. Now, as a judge, you shouldn't be left-wing, you shouldn't be right-wing. You know, your job is to look at the evidence and then take it from there. Look at the evidence from both sides. Again, this is why Keir Starmer, right? Because he is a bag of shit. Keir Starmer wants to get rid of a jury of 12 of your peers. Because that'll turn every single one or at least 90%, maybe more, of these cases will be just turned around on their heads. You know? If they are unfortunate enough to get through that fucking front door and into my home, right? And if they are lucky enough to subdue me, which will never happen, then in court, I would plead not guilty. Not guilty. I'd even represent myself. I know a few good people. Again, please consider joining your rapid response teams. You know, consider it, because they've got a lot of knowledge of the law. And if you turn up to call outs, make your face shown, you know, you're more likely to get their assistance at the end of a phone call if you've got someone like the fucking pigs knocking on your door unlawfully because you said something online that that their superiors didn't like. But not their superior didn't like, passed it all the way down and said, right, go and nick him for saying this. You know? You think I'm going to fucking sit here and allow someone to break into my fucking home to arrest me for telling the truth? Really? That's never going to happen. Never. You know? I used to associate the word martyrdom with terrorism, but I don't anymore. They put him in hospital with distress, with his blood pressure and their heavy handedness. Yeah, but Ruth, there was a photo of him stood there. Again, just question everything. There was a photo of him stood there with an intravenous. I'm not sure if it was still connected up, but there was something there to have something put into him, right? And he was stood there smiling away. Now, was that a nervous smile? Was it an ironic smile because he's a comedy writer, and that's just the way he is? Or was it just a photo shoot because it's made him famous? You know, I mean, the IT crowd, me and Sal love watching that. You know, Father Ted, fucking genius comedy, genius. And he's not made anything for a while. And maybe this is put him back in the spotlight. You know, silver linings. All I'm saying is that everything seemed a little bit excessive there, and there was another photo opportunity for him to stand there. But then we don't know if he's got any underlying medical problems. We don't know anything about him really, apart from the fact that he was the writer of those two comedies. That's pretty much it. And that he's not actually a British national. He's an Irish national. Now, I don't know how it works between England and Ireland, as in Ireland, not Northern Ireland, Ireland. I don't know how it works between arresting someone on British soil. I don't know how it works, because then you would think, shouldn't that be instant deportation back to an EU country? But then we're still an EU country. We never left, you know? So that's another example of that. It's fucking, we live in clown world, clown planet, you know? But it wouldn't surprise me if that was just, again, another little stunt by the government to instill fear into people and make them not want to dissent online. You know? It's not going to stop me. The truth is the truth. The truth is absolute. Absolute. Nothing is above the truth. Nothing. Nothing. So that's why they've continuously installed scare tactics here, there, left, right, centre. And what's to say that this isn't another case of the same, you know? Peace back at you, Betty. And you know what? On that note, look, I don't think we've left it on a negative. I think we've left it on an empowering kind of vibe, if anything, you know? But again, I am aware it's a school night and it's now coming up to midnight. So I do apologise for taking it a little bit longer than normal. And yeah, I hope you'll get some good kip. Get some proper good quality sleep. Big, massive, deep breaths. Just keep doing that and just focusing on feet and almost visualizing. I know it sounds woo-woo, I know it sounds stupid, and I think I need to shut off now because the guy's doing my fucking head in. But breathing, I'm telling you, it will make a big difference. We're moving further and further into more stressful times, and they're not going to get easier. They're going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. Harder and harder and harder and harder and harder. More and more and more and more psychological. So you need to come up with ways that are going to be able to counter that. And deep, really, really deep, prolonged breathing exercises to try and go to sleep will benefit you and your body, mind and soul. I guarantee it. Loads of evidence out there. Feel free to do your own research. You're all good. I like summer brainwash work and cold water therapy. Oh, I can't do the cold water therapy. I know someone that's bought these ice pods, you know. I'm like, oh no, fuck that. I'm designed for the heat, you know. But I do know that it is scientifically proven that a cold shock to the body is very, very beneficial, as long as you don't let it get to hypo or hypothermia. That's it. They're the only two things you need to avoid. Other than that, it's almost like a renewable medicine, natural, you know? But yeah. Anyway, I hope I haven't waffled on too much tonight, guys. Never, ever think that these fuckers have got it in the bag, because they haven't, you know. I'm a worst case scenario thinking kind of guy. I always have been. Again, I've just got a glass of water. It's not half full or half empty. It's just got a glass of water. You know, it's just a glass with water in it. That's it. You know, when you can simplify things, it makes life easier to understand and navigate. But I'm telling you, you know, that we will get through this. We will get through this. But don't self-censor yourself. Don't hold back. If you believe that what's in your heart and what's in your soul that's coming out of your mouth is sincere and honest and truthful, then fuck any consequences. Fuck them. There's only so much they can do. They are very limited because they can't contradict one law over another law. They can't do it. You know, if their rules and regs and laws have incorporated so much that it's allowed millions of cockroaches to come to our country, right? Then we have the same rights as they do. We do. You know, we can't lose. But it's going to take guts, you know, and good quality sleep. So please, when I say do big, deep breaths for as long as you possibly can, slow in, hold for as long as you can, then slow out, and just keep repeating that process. But feel the air going in. I know I sound woo-woo. I know how I'm sounding. I know people are shutting off, right? But it's the truth. It does work. It does work. You know, I've come from the brink of fucking literal suicide from breath work. And you guys, you know. Anyway, I don't want to start getting fucking sentimental, you know. Yeah. But just know you are appreciated. You know, you are. You've got no idea how much some of you guys have really, really helped me along the way. And yeah, I've got more to thank from you than you have of me all day long. Well, that's maybe a conversation that will never take place at some other time. If I don't speak to you before, guys, just have a lovely weekend. You know, the world is crazy. There are people in this world that are crazy. These things are not going to change, right? But as long as there is a massive faction of humanity that is waking up and adapting to all of this nonsense and having a very, very steadfast attitude towards it, then there's absolutely no way that they can win this. Well, you've got to have faith in yourself. You really have. It's that self-belief. And again, you know, get fit. I'm sure that's making more sense to you now than it did 3-4 years ago when I was saying it. Get fit, because you not only building up your own body and your strength, at the same time it's releasing endorphins, which is all natural. It's how it should be. We should be thinking positively, but they're trying to keep us low, really, really fucking low. And I'm having none of that. Yes, get high in your own supply. I love that, Betty. I fucking love that, because that is literally the case. You know, the more you push yourself, and again, try not to drink so much alcohol. Please try and slow that down and regulate it as much as you possibly can. But yeah, you push yourself exercise wise. I know that I said I'd do a regular Friday self-defense thing outside with my punch bag, but there's only so much I can do with it because it can't fight back. So I can't show you self-defense. All I can show you is offense. But I'll put another video out tomorrow morning on a few other things, make it last, I don't know, a few more minutes, maybe 3 or 4 minutes. Because if I do something, you know, and then do a combination and then show you a different type of kick and a different type of punch, and then showing you how fast you need to be achieving all of those things, and then trying to maybe eventually just practice both of them separately and then see them together, so you've got combinations and stuff like that. I don't edit, you know, and I never will, because it's never been part of the channel, never. So it's always what you see is what you get. And you know, if I fuck up during a video, I fuck up, and I expect every single one of you to remind me that I fucked up, and you will be appreciated for it. You will. So I might do another, like, it's not going to be a self-defense video, because it's a punch bag. It's an outdoor punch bag. You know, it's not got any arms or legs. I've got no way of demonstrating on how actually, there are a few things I could do. Like if someone comes at you with a knife, you know, but I am very restricted because it's not a responsive piece of equipment. But I will do a video tomorrow. Whether, you know, I don't know what the interest is on. I don't know if people are interested in it or not enough, you know. But there's only so much I can do with that thing. But I will put a video out tomorrow. I will. I said I'd do it every Friday, and I've gone back on that, and I don't like that. Anyway, right. Just please make a conscious effort to have a good weekend. Spend it around people that make you happy and contented. And if those people or that person is you, then fair enough. From one loner to another, you know. But just remember, no man or woman's an island. Much love and ciao for now.